The Climbing S's, a signature feature of Virginia International Raceway, America's motorsport resort, and where the opening rounds for the season of 2017 for the touring car divisions is about to unfold. Hi, everybody. Greg Creamer, Jeff Lepper alongside. Kurt Hatz will be down in pit lane covering some of the action for us, and looking forward to this one. We've been waiting a while to see these touring cars take to the track, and a couple of stories leading into it just to discuss quickly, Jeff. First of all, when we got here, the story was water around the track. Now it's water in the air. It is hot and humid today, but in a way, we're just lucky to be racing.
Really it is, and the way the storm system moved in here earlier this week and sort of said, well, I'm going to pick a place to go dump all the water on, and let's do that at Virginia International Raceway.
Exactly.
Flooding literally over the entire turn one, over the asphalt it was flooded. You had water out of exit turn number 17, limited practice time here. They delayed the test session on Thursday for a lot of these guys and gals out here racing today, but all clear skies, like you said.
Yep.
Humid, hot, track is clean, action is hot on this track.
And the other reason we're really excited about finally getting the season underway, over 50 cars through the three divisions about to take the green. And, Jeff, a huge field, a resurgent growth in TC.
It really is, and it's almost a spec BMW in 235i racing, and it's really strength to the volume that Toby Gerhovic winning that touring car championship in that BMW platform about the popularity of that. But, man, you can't count out the brand new Audi RS3 LMS that they brought over in the Club Sport version. Paul Holton qualifying second here today in that Audi, starting on the outside of the front row. And you got the Honda Accord still, Shea Racing there, Tony Rivera in his Nissan 370Z, and John Weisberg, the lone Mazda MX-5, still trying to get that done in that Mazda.
Absolutely, and an interesting development, the guy who finished third in last year's championship, Nick Whitmer, moving over to ST Racing, Samantha Tan Racing, in one of the BMWs. The car he took to third last year, his brother, Carl, who as late as 2012 was playing professional hockey in Sweden, but said, that's not what I realized that's not what I want to do. I want to go racing. And he's already won a couple of touring car championships in Canada, and he's now the third Whitmer to come up through Pirelli World Challenge and go after it. Talk to him about, his dad, Patrick, said it's the first time that we've had Whitmer brothers racing against each other for different teams. And Carl looked at me and said, no mercy. No mercy between me and Nick. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Carl and Kyle, of course, the twin brothers there of Nick and Kuno. You'll see Nick in that GPI BMW stepping up to one of those M235i racings with his teammate Samantha Tan. So good to see her into that BMW, up into the touring car category, started in the TCA class, got a couple years of experience, and now into touring car. And that just helps that growth as how big TC has become.
Absolutely. And I think one of the neat developments is Shea Racing and Shea Holbrook. That team started as a true little mom-and-pop one-car deal, just trying to get to the races. They have managed in marketing and done some amazing stuff. 4-car program here, 2 in touring car, 2 in touring car A, TCA. Really a great growth and program for Shea Racing.
It really is, and they're actually also hauling and prepping a couple extra cars on top of it that are just part of their own. So really have grown that up. Sarah Montgomery making her debut here in Pirelli World Challenge in the TCA category in that Lemons of Love Shea Racing Honda Civic Si, and Tom O'Gorman, your TCB champion. Tomo moving up from TCB into the TCA in a brand new 2017 spec Civic Si.
And you've been seeing here on the screen some shots from some of the iconic, even signature corners here. We already talked about the climbing S's. This is a look at what they call Snake, which is the first set of S's as you work out of the tight infield section and then to the part of the track where the cars can stretch their legs. This is the famous Oak Tree turn. Sadly, sans Oak Tree. It fell over a few years ago, but it's still a tremendous corner. And then just a bit ago, we had a shot down at the roller coaster. And by the way, this turn right here that you're looking at straight ahead, that's one of the most diabolical turns. You come out of the climbing S's and turn 10, Jeff, you were racing here just a few weeks ago. You enter that corner at a prodigious rate of speed, and it's a weird one, and it's fast.
Yeah, my Nissan 370Z, we were right at 138 miles an hour, about 5,000 RPMs, the top of 5th gear. So it was it'll make your eyes open, and when you get 50-something touring cars going through there at full song in a Pirelli World Challenge race, it's going to be an exciting corner to go watch from. Hopefully we'll get a great vantage view from these great cameras around this track.
Oh, I'm sure we will. And you can see there in the background, up in the top, that little piece of ribbon. That's not even the high point. As you leave this front straight and start getting after Snake, it climbs over 100 feet up to the Oak Tree area, and then that bob and weave down that straight. When you come over the roller coaster and drop down into the corner they call Hog Pen, you plummet over 100 feet in a very short time. And the other thing, Jeff, is with all the rain we've had, even though we haven't had it now for a couple of days, the grass is still pretty soggy, the ground is soggy, and there's no paved runoff, there's no gravel traps here. and I think you made it the point that when you go off the track, it just slopes away, and at the bottom of every slope, it seems, is concrete. So it's going to be a challenge, and that challenge is about to begin. Let's get down to the front of the grid, and Kurt Hansen.
Nissan North America, and the place they call a little piece of heaven on earth, Virginia International Raceway. Start your engines!
Rick Kulak there from Nissan North America giving the command to start engines. Look at that. BMW, Audi, Cody Ellsworth, and that Porsche starting in third. Then you go BMW, 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 BMW.
Yeah, well, I think there are 15 of them making up virtually half the field in this class. Pretty impressive stuff. This is the Nissan Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix at VIR, and a big thanks to everybody from Nissan for their support this weekend. And, of course, in the GT class, the Nissan is back in the GT division, and that's great news. So, watching for this one, and the cars now start to roll off here. And, of course, doubleheader weekend, Jeff. Rolling start first time, standing start for race 2. One pace lap here, 3.27 miles, and an immense number of challenging corners, 17 in total, but some of them are special.
They really are. And, of course, our Cadillac ATS-V pace car, led there by Scott Dollahite, driving our pace car here. But this track is it's a high-speed track. It really is. But it's also a technical track. You have to hit those marks at these speeds where you want to be to get a good lap here. And you think about this 17 turns. If you're off by 1/10 of a second at all these corners, you're a 1.7 seconds slower than everyone else. So that tells you how precise you have to be around this 3.27-mile road course.
Now you're watching them here, the exit of the horseshoe, turn 1. Turn 3, a very tricky corner. We've seen a lot of cars and drivers in all of the classes running here this weekend for Pirelli World Challenge struggle a little bit getting turn 3 right.
It really is. It's one of those corners that it starts off, you got to turn to the left, but you're still going at speed and accelerating. You get the car unbalanced, but you got to brake for that harder turn 4 there, left hook we call it. So turn 3 is really 2 different turns in one. You got a shorter, tighter turn at the end of that, so it's hard to get that right. And I think I got mine right about the end of the second race of the weekend, so I was kind of excited about that.
Yeah, tricky decreasing radius, no question. Then you come through and finish that technical section, turn 1 through 6, end to snake, and then it is open it up and free run it for a while. It is special stuff. You talked about a good mix on the front, the BMW and the Audi on the front row. Greg Liafouge and Paul Holton. Great to have Paul back and running. He's had a lot of success in this championship. But, of course, Greg Liafouge, he's dipped his toe in the water a few times. But, again, this BMW M235i Racing car, after the success Grahovic had, a lot of BMW club racers have decided to make the step up using that platform. And it's enticed some teams, one of them Stephen Cameron Racing, to bring a fairly large contingent and bring some pretty solid drivers in. Cody Ellsworth back for the season, racing a Porsche Cayman, the Racer Inc. Motorsports car, qualified third. Great run for him. And then Justin Raphael in the classic BMW M235 IR. Then Anthony Majanoli, Ari Belo, who certainly has some fairly good racing experience, has done a lot in the ST Street Tuner class in IMSA. Nick Whitmer, a little bit further back than we may have expected, but obviously that's a brand new program with ST Racing. So just interesting things to watch for here. Tony Rivera back in 12th. I don't think he's going to stay there, though.
No, I don't think so either. He actually practiced, and he was third overall, but at 2:03.5. When it came time to qualifying, they just made a little small setup change, went the wrong way. Look for him to be fast in that Nissan 370Z.
Yeah, swept Road America last year, and there are those who would say this is a fairly similar track in terms of speed and the like. Then let's take a look in the Touring Car A and Touring Car B ranks. Here is the field now coming out of Oak Tree and making the run down the very long back straight that they call Madison Avenue here. I love it. Matt Fastnot, very quick again in the SAC Racing Mazda MX-5 on pole. Dean Copeland, who of course multi-winner in the MX-5 Cup Pro Series, making the debut in TCA of Mazda's global MX-5 Cup car, doing a superb job. His teammate Brian Henderson qualified third. It's the 74, 07, and 97. Then last year's runaway champion Elevan Goulart will be in the 4th spot in his SAC Racing Mazda MX-5. Then Michael Johnson, Sarah Montgomery in the 21 and 55 respectively, and the rest of a pretty sizable field. On the pole in touring car, Jake Pipal in the Honda Fit for Jake Pipal Racing. Johnny O'Connell's son, Kanan O'Connell. I don't think it's going to be long before we're going to just quit saying Johnny O'Connell's son, because he ran 2 races last year, got a second in his first race as a pro. And the guy that almost won the championship, didn't quite when Tomo got him, PJ Gronke back once again, Travis Wache. This is going to be a lot of fun. And, of course, 40 minutes of racing, lights out in the pace car.
It's going to be a split start here. The TC cars will go, then the TCA cars will go, and then the TCB cars will go. With this many cars, they wanted to have that split as the cars enter our VP Fuels acceleration zone here for that green flag.
And this track's big enough to let them do it. Watching for the green, and it's up to the starter and your pole sitter at this point. And I'll tell you, boy, they're bringing them up slow and late. It's a bit of a run down this straight before you get to the stand. There's actually a little kink, if you will. There we are. We are racing for the first time in 2017 for the Pirelli World Challenge Touring Cars pole sitter. Greg Liafouge noses ahead right away.
Yeah, comes right to the inside to protect that. Cody Ellsworth gets a great run. Runs on the inside of Paul Holton, sort of follows them right through. 3 wide as they come through turn number 1.
How fun is that? Then I think it may have been Anthony Maginoli who showed some great speed in some of the practice sessions. Trying to pick up the number here, but he may have got himself a good jump into the start. But boy, Liafouge has already found a couple of car lengths, and that's the concern. Running wide, Maginoli does exactly that. Here is our start in Touring Car B.
We had Kanan O'Connell and PJ Gronke 1-2, and then right at that last minute, it was when you go to that Honda Fit, the number 6 there of Jake Pipal.
Yeah, he was able to pick up a great pole position here. Now working through Snake. And once they get through this next corner, next couple of corners, they start the run up toward the climbing S's. Look at this. Just phenomenal. The speed and pace you come through. And then here's that wicked, treacherous turn 10 you were talking about.
Yeah, come through to the left hand and come down the hill as Paul Holton pressuring Cody Ellsworth. Going to go to the inside. You see Ellsworth tracking that. Now, even the Oak Tree turn here, coming down into turn number 11 and then into turn number 12. It's one of those double ones as wow. Is that Toby Grohovic, your champion from last year, way down to the inside, coming out of what we talked about, South Bend there, turn number 10.
You get that wrong, and the grass so wet right now, there's just no stopping it. And he had to get it turned, so he's got a long, hard race ahead of him. Here's the number 44 struggling as well.
Yeah,
off to the inside, Andrew Raines. They had a tough time in qualifying, and it seems to be continuing here. They said in qualifying that the car just suddenly went to limp mode, and I would suspect that's what may have happened here. Back to Touring Car B, and Jake Pipal hanging on at this stage over the 24 of Kanan O'Connell, that second car in the line. And Kanan is just relentless. I mean, you know, he got trained that way.
Well, and he's a trainer now at the Bob Bondurant Driving School. Of course, you see that on the side of that. And PJ Gronke in the second of the Tech Sport Racing Chevy Sonics back there in third place. And Travis Wache, don't count him out. His Mini Cooper winner at Lime Rock last year said, I made my racing goal of my life. My dad took me to Lime Rock when I was a kid, and I was able to come here and win in front of my home.
And here we are, TCA right now. And I'll tell you, we were kind of wondering, looking where Ella Van Goulaar qualified back and forth. And he has had himself a tremendous start at this stage. And as always, it seems like some of these SAC guys just sort of team up here. But this time he was able to get the jump, get around Dean Copeland. And that is, again, the global MX-5 Cup car. And a very different look to it. And they say it should be a little bit quicker here. But Ella Van Goulaar just makes that MX-5 fly.
He really does. He started all, back, you say all the way back and forth. But it really was when you get as cars that are so closely matched as TCA. Kind of funny, though, you see that. Ella Van Goulaar's in the Mazda MX-5, the previous generation car, and he's surrounded by 3 of the brand new global MX-5 Cup cars. There's damage there between, it looks like Matthew Fosnot going to be just barely misses the wall.
And Henderson.
And I think that was Henderson, yeah, the 97 global car, and that's how close they were. You get that close and a little tiny bump there, and it was pretty much looks like everybody was able to get back underway.
Yeah, and one of the things in the driver briefing for all of the teams, problem here, that is the number 40. Oh boy, we're just of course first race of the season, and some of these are fairly new programs and still working through some teething issues.
Yeah, big problems there as he looks like he's still off the pace, off to the right there, and believe that. I think that's Steve Coley, I believe.
I believe it is.
And off over to the side there. Had some problems in the qualifying session. Did not make a lap. Unfortunately, still not able to go to the race. But it is all about this man, the number 20 Prime. Steve Cameron Racing BMW out there in first place as Paul Holton putting the pressure to Cody Ellsworth. Great to see Ellsworth back behind the wheel as well here in Pirelli World Challenge.
Yeah, and Holton, that was a nice run, wasn't it, Jeff? He just got the nose inside, and Ellsworth realized if I turn in, it's going to end ugly. It was a heads-up move by Ellsworth, but he did give up the position. But I think it was kind of a live to fight another day move.
And look at Nick Whitmer now in a rear-wheel drive car. We saw him very loose in that Accord back in the day last year, and now he is BMW trying to get the draft. Cody Ellsworth protecting the inside down here into turn number 1.
Yeah, and Ellsworth doing exactly by rule. You can make your move and pick your position going in, but if you react to the driver behind you, that's a block. And Cody made his move and then just stayed put, clean stuff, and that left Nick was obviously hunting inside and outside and looking around here and realized, well, I just need to settle in here for a sec.
Watching going through turn number 4, the left hook, and then in through Snake here. Do you see the different platforms there? That mid-engine Cayman from Cody Ellsworth, the front engine, front wheel drive Audi RS3 LMS of Paul Holden, and then the front engine rear wheel drive BMW.
Great mix.
Talk about the balanced performance here. You got 3 different manufacturers in the top 3 here in touring car. Don't count out Tony Rivera. We talked about him before. He's lurking. He's back there in 9th.
Yeah, he's made it up a couple of spots. And, I think one of the things, maybe the big story this year with the touring car class itself, is not just the number of cars, but the number of new cars and the manufacturer involvement. There are no factory teams here. Let's be very clear on that. But the manufacturers have decided to really support these independent teams with data, with information, technical support, parts, and the like. And that's a great sign for the series, because when you're a small team and you have a manufacturer that says, you guys are quick, we're going to help you out, that makes a big difference. And I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing such a huge influx of new programs.
A lot of new programs, a lot of new cars, some more new cars that are coming into the pipeline as this series continues to go. Brought on Jim Jordan as a class manager to help grow the touring car class. Technical advice there with Dan Goodman and his crew. Just all great things led by Mike Chris Hazelgrove getting through this. And just to see the growth, man. 53 cars here this weekend in our touring car A, and touring car B categories. But it still is Greg Fuge. But Paul Holton now starting to close the gap a little bit on our leader in TC. So we have a battle for first and a battle for third.
Holton had a little bit of a moment in one of the early practice sessions. And the C360R team got that thing fixed and obviously nailed it in terms of throwing a setup at it. Back to touring car B, Pipeball hanging on over O'Connell. The two of them have opened up just a little bit of a margin back to Gronke in third.
You see, Travis Wachet there. These cars are so closely matched. You lose a draft. And you look back there, that number 77 TCB car of Taylor Handwork, and you see he's lost the draft now, and it's going to be hard to catch up here. But Kanan O'Connell trying to pressure Bubble, and we always say it all along, Greg, all last year and the last couple of years, TCB is the closest best racing in the touring car categories.
Oh, it's just insane. These guys have no problem getting in there. They're small cars, so you can fit 2 or 3 where you can't fit other cars, and they have no problems trying to do exactly that. Oh, a problem for Weisberg, John Weisberg. He's done a lot of development on that MX-5. Got a paddle shift system in it and some other developments here, but going wrong a bit early.
Yeah, I got the new Quaife sequential in that, but looks like when
they
you build a race engine, you build it with a certain amount of smoke in it, and he let all the smoke out of it.
I like that. A potential amount of smoke in a car, and when it releases at once, never a good thing. So, again, O'Connell hounding Pipeball. This is a roller coaster. And it's funny, this camera angle, really, here's the camera angle that shows you just how deep that plummet is. Shea Holbrook off track.
Yeah, not sure where that was. If she's going the other way here.
Oh, boy, it's turn 10.
Yep, turn 10 again, just gets it loose. It looks like she probably lost it going down there in the braking zone. Yeah, oh, no, it was turn 10.
Yeah.
Able to go straight through there and decides, I'm not going to go back out over Oak Tree and just make a little shortcut through here. Still not the fastest way through there, but
exactly.
Not much of a shortcut. She was running 18th.
Yeah, she may have realized she was heading right for the apex of the turn in at 11 there, and you don't want to do that. So she said, nope, I'm just going to square up, go the other way. Connell shows the nose for just a second. Couldn't quite get it done down into turn 1.
The cool thing about the TCB class, we talk about how close they are. The second these two cars get side by side, PJ Gronke, Travis Wachet will be right there. It happens that fast in TCB. These cars have just a little over 100 horsepower. They're limited on the camber they can make. It's basically a subcompact street car. You put the required safety equipment, put some better brake pads in there, and strap on a set of Pirelli P0 tires, and you come racing.
And we haven't had Pirelli World Challenge cars here since 2010, and the TCB class I don't think was running at that point. So this is a debut for them at this track. And I was going to ask you one thing. You raced here a few weeks ago in a club event, and what were the temperatures and humidity then?
mid to upper 70s and like 30% humidity. It was Chamber of Commerce day.
And how hard were you working in that car? Now translate that to 90 degrees and mega humidity.
Well, if these were 40-minute sprint races, I'd last about 20.
Yeah. Yeah, it is brutal in these cars right now. Good little scrap here. That is the number 29. And that is Rafael, who's got himself a good amount of pressure right behind him, I think. Is that Belo? No, that's Maginoli. Those two guys, Rafael and Maginoli. That's a great comeback drive by Maginoli after that early off when he got involved with Henderson.
Yeah, they sure swapped little positions there. And I got, Toby Grahovic's not even on our timing screen after his incident.
Yeah.
I think you just saw him back there. I believe he's back in about 23rd or 24th position for your past season championship as our leaders now catching up to the back of our touring car B-Spec field.
Yeah, Liafouge actually just went by the leaders, and he lost a little bit of time. Both Holton and now Whitmer were able to, I think, to close up just a little bit here, so that's going to make things interesting, and traffic often does that. Here's that plummet down. That's the roller coaster. This sort of double apex left. You just let it float, and now, hog pen, contact, and oh boy, that is O'Connell, and he got touched by one of the touring cars. Great save by Kanan. Wow.
I've seen some videos on YouTube of Kanan O'Connell and the Dodge Viper sitting there drifting at Bondurant's course in Arizona. He did a good job drifting that front-wheel drive car down there, just put his foot in it and spun those Pirelli P0 tires, pulled that car straight. But that's what happens. You get in traffic here with TC and those slower TCB cars. We get a replay here, just made contact there with the number 29. You talk about that, Justin Raphael.
Yeah, Raphael was just anxious, did not want to, he was in that huge battle with Belo and Maginoli and wanted to get through, but you can't, these touring car B cars, they can't just disappear. And in that piece of track, you can't make that move and make it work too successfully, that's for sure. And boy, that's brought Nimkov right up into the mix as well. As you take a look there, that is Liafouge continuing to lead. Official margin is about a little over 1 second that time by start finish. But look at that, second, third, and fourth. They are covered by the proverbial blanket.
And it is Nick Whitmer who went from fourth up to second place now. Paul Holton back to third. Cody Ellsworth from second back to fourth. He was in third before that. Sorry, lost one position there. Paul Holton trying to see if he can get that move back. Goes to the outside, goes back to the inside down here into Oak Tree. Can he get a run down the straightaway here? As Greg Liafouge looking in his rearview mirror.
Oh, he did.
Just rubbing his hands back and forth saying, yep, that's what I need to pull away.
Yeah, Holton got Whitmer offline just a little bit, didn't he? Was able to get the nose inside at the apex. Now we're going to see just how good that BOP is.
Look at this. They're still side by side, wheel to wheel. I don't think there's... Look at that. They can almost touch wheel to wheel well. And Cody Ellsworth's trying to get the draft, see if he can pick up a position over Paul Holton down here in the braking zone into turn number 10.
Did you see how
14.
much ground he made up? Ellsworth did when those two cars were side by side, punching a big hole there. And I think right now Whitmer's going to be saying thank you, Mr. Ellsworth, because that little bit of a arrow push was able to keep him in front of Holton.
You see the cars kind of bottom out there as Holton just turns the wheel down to the inside. Whitmer gave him just enough room over the curbs, though, and now they're side by side again on both straightaways.
That Audi just sticks. Where you put it, it sticks. And again, yeah, absolutely side by side. This time, though, it's Holton with the inside and Ellsworth coming up again. And Cody is not going to try and make it three wide, is he? All right, he ducks underneath Whitmer, though. There might be Whitmer saw him. That was good track awareness by Nick.
It sure was. Knows that it's better to live a day. He'll have the inside here if he can stick it through turn number 3 and 4. So he comes down here and then right through turn 3. You want to use all the curbing here all the way out to that asphalt there. And then hard on the brakes, turn left. You kind of give up turn number 5 to get turn number 6 really good because you want to accelerate through there all the way through, Snake, and then in through the S's.
Yeah, turn 6, that is a corner. You see guys that are on at the back end stepping out. They work hard. Here's the battle for the lead in touring car A, and the 07 of Copeland, I believe, has snuck through, picked it up from Goulart.
And Eric Powell able to recover from a terrible qualifying session. He qualified back in 8th position, now up to 3rd place in that Tech Sport Racing Mazda MX-5. So you have the global MX-5 Cup car leading over the two previous generation MX-5 cars. I talked to Goulart about that, and he said, you know what, we have all the data, we have all the settings, we know how to adjust this car. We haven't used a new car yet, so we're going to use our old car. He does have a new one already, as Eric Powell powers to the outside. It's Goulart and Powell, 1-2 now here down into side. Copeland and Powell side by side through turn number 1.
This is some fabulous racing. The 92, it's Omacht, has had a bit of a moment. I think that's up in Oak Tree.
Oak Tree there, yeah.
That's a shame.
Let's get a replay here to see if we can find out what happens. And oh, just a little too deep, runs it right off the course. And when you have those wheels turned like that and you catch that asphalt, it just spins the car right back around. So your best bet there is to try to go straight, get the car slowed down. He gets back underway. Really only harmed himself there and back under green for that corner.
Yeah, Chris had qualified 11th, and he was hoping for more. He sure was pushing for it, wasn't he? No question. By the way, Toby Grahovic now has made it inside the top 25 of touring car. That's how far back he dropped. Boy, this touring car A battle is just fierce stuff again. Here we go. Up we go through the climbing S's. And as we're watching Toby Grahovic try and come back through the field here after that early off, let's check in with Kurt Hansen with his crew chief.
What's up with Toby?
So on the first lap, Toby got pushed off turn 10. Had a little off-track excursion, a little damage to the front bumper and to the rear bumper, and now we just got to catch back up and get back up to the front.
Everything mechanically okay, just the shove off?
Everything's mechanically okay. We're watching temperatures, making sure everything's okay. Hopefully we can just make it to the end of the race and look for round 2.
Good luck, gentlemen.
And when they say watching temperatures, that's Toby watching the temperatures and telling the crew, this class, they don't have all the telemetry and the like. Isn't like they got the computer banks up there.
Not sure what happened in the touring car A leaders as Eric Powell dropped back now into the clutches of Will Patterson. As they're coming down here through the roller coaster session there, we see some of the TCB lap traffic there. Got to think that played a mark in that. And you see
think so, yeah.
Right behind him is Michael Johnson, who's in the second of those Tech Sport Mazda MX-5s, who moving up from the TCB field.
Exactly. Having a solid run. So right now, this has turned into a bit of a mano-a-mano battle between defending series champion Elvin Goulart and multiple Pro MX-5 Cup winner Dean Copeland. And then there you can see the margin. It's not huge, but just getting that little bit of breathing room is always going to help. No question about that. Mike Johnson in third, the number 21, Patterson in the number 79. That's that all red car, the MX-5 right behind. And then sitting in the 5th spot now is Powell. And you talked about it, Jeff. He'd been up, I think, at 3rd. And so he's lost a couple of spots here. Exited 3 into 4. As you said, that's a bit of a throwaway corner because you want to be able to start feeding throttle right here.
And actually, that's Michael Johnson in the 3rd place now as Patterson's back and 4th and Powell in 5th. So not sure what happened there to move Powell back from 3rd to 5th.
And Paul Whiting currently sits 6th, and I mean, he's shown some really solid speed in his Honda Civic SI, but just had a problem in qualifying. And it'll be interesting to see whether he's able to get up. Maybe if those guys sitting 3rd, 4th, 5th, Jeff, if they don't race each other and they just tuck and go, see if they can run down these leaders.
Yeah, and Paul Whiting is one of those guys that can do that, a driving instructor at Spring Mountain Motorsports Complex in Nevada, and qualified on the pole actually at Mazda Racer Laguna Seca for the season-ending race.
Right.
And was late to pre-grid, had to start from the back, and I kind of joked with him. I said, are you going to sleep in your car in pre-grid now overnight so you're ready for race 2? And that's a big thing here, Greg, as well, is these guys race again tomorrow. Guys and gals race again tomorrow. Is Hanratty off course in his low 6 Siege. Looks like turn 17 coming on the straightaway.
Yeah, the Krug Speed entry, beautiful car. Great to see them still running in the category. And did you see coming into Oak Tree the last time we had the shot of Elvin Goulart? That car, he was twitching and twitching and twitching all the way to the turn-in point. He is driving that car at or maybe just a titch beyond the limit. Just immaculate car control.
Very much so. As you see, there is Lafuge and Holton still 1-2 as Whitmer dropped to 3rd now, and you still have battling back there. Don't count out, when you're looking back here, Cody Ellsworth.
No.
It's a brand new car, brand new team. The Racer Inc. also does the merchandise sales for Pirelli World Challenge. If you're here at the event, listening live at world-challenge.com or live at motortrendondemand.com, make sure you check out our swag sales. Grab yourself a Pirelli World Challenge hat or t-shirt.
Some great new stuff. I think really like it. Yeah.
Help support Cody Ellsworth's racing budget there, right?
Absolutely. Here's Leah Fouge, and tell you, Greg, like I said, he's run a couple of races. He's San Francisco based, and he ran a couple of races in I think GTS in the past. Has spent a lot of time racing with the Bimmer World team in the street tuner class, but got enticed to come over here with Steve Cameron, and you can see why. Greg is a shoe.
Very much so, as it's going to see the Honda Civic there of Gloria Fernandez splitting those 2 leaders as she makes her debut here at Pirelli World Challenge from Puerto Rico. Does a lot of touring car racing over there.
What a great story, too. That she told us, she said, since 2007, I have my dream has been to race in Pirelli World Challenge. And she said we got close a couple of times, and then budgets was, things would happen. And she said we finally made it, and what a delight to have in the paddock.
Yeah, I drove for our family team back in 2005.
Yeah,
just a great there, and Eva Costello there helping her out as well. So awesome to have her here, and got a pretty good energy drink on the side of that car as well, helping her out with Celeron from Puerto Rico. So awesome to have that here as Lafuge is deep in traffic. Not even touring car traffic is one of those Audi R8 or RS3 LMSs. I believe that's John Allen. Who just runs right off the course there to the side of turn number 10. Has got a little bit loose there. And that's just, you got out in that gravel stuff there in turn number 10. It's a one-lane road, and you had the faster leader coming behind him and just lost the grip and slid right off the track. And that's really the nature of this course. The runoff areas are at an angle and slippy. Right. So if you get off, it just sort of pulls you right down into the wall.
And he didn't get a lot of time in that qualifying session. They had a little incident pretty much on the outlap, so that really hasn't helped track time for him.
And traffic now with some of our TCA traffic for our leaders, and you can see how close Paul Holton now is behind Lafuge as we start battling here for the lead with just right at halfway now as we're coming down here. 19 minutes and 45 seconds to go, so we just passed the halfway point. A lot of racing still to go here for TC.
Yeah, Whitmer got trapped. He was close, and then he got trapped all the way through the turn 14 start of the roller coaster, halfway down. I think he was able to clear those other two cars. But you can see the margin that he's not lost. And Holton, he's got a head of steam as they head down into the horseshoe into turn 1. Watch here. Nope, not quite enough, Jeff.
No, I don't think so, but that was the fastest race lap for Paul Holton, a 2:02.420. Faster, I believe. No, they were 2:01s in qualifying. 2:01.9 was the pole time, so they're right on pace with pole qualifying here to get to the race. And I believe we'll see that a lot more as a lot more of these drivers and teams get used to these brand new cars and brand new platforms. As we're still looking back at our TCB leader, Jake Peipel, in his Honda Fit, still leading and actually pulled out a big lead now over PJ Gronke. Travis Wache there in third, trying to start battling with PJ for second in our TCB category.
Yeah, remember Kanan was right there and then had that tap from one of the TCA cars and floated way wide, and that really has helped Peipel out, no question about that. Lafuge, Holton, Whitmer, Ellsworth, and Nimkov continuing to have an impressive run, sitting there right there in the 5th spot.
That SVN Realty Honda Fit as he comes out of Oak Tree and onto the straightaway, and can adjust the mirrors a little bit, maybe take a good deep breath, look down at your phone, send a text or a tweet because you're in the Honda Fit TCB car on this long back straightaway. You got some time to do some stuff.
And then it gets busy when you get to the roller coaster.
Here's Travis Wache and PJ Gronke. That battle for third is our leaders now coming up through our leaders in our touring car B-Spec category. And both of those guys are going to want to clear as Nick Whitmer sticks his nose in there, wants to get by these TCB leaders, and he does.
Whitmer got a great run, didn't he?
And Cody Ellsworth's going to get hung up here into the roller coaster. You see that Audi RS3 LMS lock up that rear brakes a little bit. Typical of a front-wheel drive car, especially one that stiffly is sprung. As Wache looking to the outside of Gronke back there in TCB, but Paul Holton right behind Lafuge as they come down to turn number 7. Bumper to bumper, little bump draft there as they come onto the straightaway. Going to try to use Popple as a pick there in the TCB class.
Well, I'll tell you, again, I'm impressed with that Audi, the way it just, wherever Paul puts it, it just sticks. And it worked. Now we'll see if Whitmer, again, with the side-by-side, if he can do something. He's chosen to stay with that outside line, but Holton, he's there, but low. Nice move by Grahovic. If he can stay put, and he's not going to be able to do it, that would have given him the inside, but Holton made sure that wasn't going to happen. And here comes Whitmer. Yeah, look at this, but Grahovic deep in again, Jeff.
Yeah, Lafuge to the inside of Paul Holton here through turn number 3. Gives him just enough room. But Paul Holton's going to be careful here. You want to get back in there because you're going to lose that position to Whitmer. He'll have the inside.
I'll tell you what, that was executed perfectly, because that was one of the things they said in the drivers' briefings was if on the 2 spots of this track, 3 and the exit of Oak Tree in 12, when a car goes out and uses all that runoff, if it slips and runs wide, they said you've got to give that car room to come back on, because if you don't, with the mud and the wet, it's going to snap and it could be a huge wreck. And that was played beautifully there by Holton, who did give Liafuge a little bit of room.
Coming down to turn number 10, and you will not believe, you can kind of see how unsettled the cars were over that crest and how light they were. You kind of just hold your breath, catch it, and then accelerate down here. And great opening of the wheel here to get onto that front stretch, get the best run you can as the longest straightaway here at Virginia International Raceway.
And Ellsworth, and you just saw him just off to the left of the frame, is dropped back in the Racer Inc. Porsche. He'd been up there, but he got really held up by in traffic, and it cost him. But Whitmer, boy, that car drafts well. He really builds a head of steam here down this long, long back straight. That little kink into 14 in the roller coaster.
Looking back at our TCA leaders, who are starting to get hounded a little bit by our touring car leaders, as Paul Whiting now has moved himself up into that 4th position in TCA.
There is your lead duo. They're continuing at it here again, Goulart and Copeland. And virtually every time they come by somewhere, and look at this big move here, Powell now showing the nose, and they were running in formation there down into turn 1. Goulart slips a little wide, and there you go. Copeland looks underneath.
See if Powell, who he wants to follow through here, is no, there's your leader in our TCB class right up against that wall. And that's the exit of turn number 17, I gotta believe, Jake Pipel. See what we can find out what happened here, and sure enough,
he got helped off too. That's the second time we've seen a front runner in touring car B getting ushered off the track.
That's devastating for him as he led. Finally gets back underway, and it looks like there's a little damage to that left rear as well, as it got some positive camber back there. But let's go back to our lead battle here as Eric Powell to the inside of Copeland, coming up here into the climbing S's, gets that pass done, and way to go by Eric Powell in that Tech Sport Racing Mazda MX-5. These are the two guys that battled for that TCA championship last year, and they're back at it again here at the season opener race.
Boy, Powell is relentless, no question. And watching him slice through now, what can he do here at this stage?
Yeah, you see Goulart's car is not happy under braking there, and usually that equates to alignment. You might give up the alignment to make you faster in the straightaways, but it's going to affect that car under hard braking. And you see that as he comes down there into braking for Oak Tree, as Gregory Liafuge has a bigger gap now over Paul Holton as they come down the straightaway, and that's all traffic. It giveth and it taketh away.
And look at that, Liafuge is going to clear everybody by the time they get to 14. The question is, will Holton be able to? And the thing is, these three guys in Touring Car A, they're in their own battle, and they're under no obligation to just open the door. And if they think by doing that they're going to get lose positions in class, they're not going to make it easy. That's exactly what's happened. Now Holton's going to have to force the issue a little bit.
Yeah, he tries to go to the inside. See, that's just, it's so frustrating as a driver. You know, you can see the momentum that Eric Powell lost on that. Paul Holton doesn't want to lose. Oh, no! Oh, a huge incident by Jason Fichter. Way up in the air. Oh, man. And that fuel mother's Honda Accord. Oh, no. Looks like that's going to be a red flag for the session here, as that's a huge incident for Jason Fichter. And I'm not sure where that was, but looks like it was either down there on the exit of 10 or coming onto the front straightaway in turn number 17.
Yeah, red flag at 13 minutes left. And it was an immediate red flag. Great reaction, of course, as you would expect by Pirelli World Challenge Race Control.
Oh, there's the good news there.
News. You see Shea drive over. That's one of her team drivers, and that was a class act by Shea to drive over and check. I'm sure he's rattled, but just great to see him get out of that car on his own.
I know Grandma Didi is watching Jason here, and let's see if we can get a replay about what happened there. And he's just a little bit over, and I think that's, man, I don't know where that is, but wow, what a wicked crash as he got off the track. It dug that front nose and just go over. Oh, man, what a huge incident, but I know doing a lot of stuff there in the upper S's for him, and that was, Donate for Life, their big event here this weekend for Jason Fichter, and what a great family they are. His sister Jillian starting to come race now, started off in TCB, and another driver that worked his way up, and here just dropped off in the rain that we've had here, and that soft dirt just hung him over, but awesome to see in the way this car was built to have him get out of that car and walk away.
Yeah, Shea has talked about how absolutely instrumental he's been as they've grown that team, because she said when I'm working on business stuff to try and do stuff, he's been the one that's been overlooking a lot of stuff in the shop and making sure the cars are ready. And she said, and he's, what, 19? I mean, he's a very, very smart young guy, and tough to see that happen. So, yeah, that was over in that section called the Climbing S's, and we talk how glorious it is to watch cars go through there at speed, but when it goes wrong there, you're at serious speed.
Yeah, it goes really wrong, and you can see that's the result of that. And, man, like I said, I just cannot alliterate the fact of how great the safety equipment worked on that Honda Accord. Of course, Shea Racing building those two cars,
yep.
And to see Jason get out under his own power. Like you said, got the wind knocked out of him probably, rung his bell a little bit. There's his dad, Guy, you see there on pit lane, Jeff Holbrook. All the Honda engineers trying to watch the replay to see exactly what happened. I know Guy will be pretty good there as well. Let's see. We get down to pit lane there. Kurt Hansen, you got an update for us?
Yeah, I'm sitting here with the boss man at big time off. I know you guys just saw it. The whole crew, just a huge. Wow, I think you guys are going to look shaken up.
Yes, yeah, we're really shaken up about it. Just talked to Jason on the radio. He seems okay. We're very happy to see him walking away on the live stream. Thank God for the live stream. If not, we'd all be freaking out right now. So, I mean, that was. Thank God for all the safety gear and everything that we have to use, because he was able to walk out of the car. It could have been much worse. We'll take a look at it when we see and see what went on there.
Yeah, as soon as I heard the call, I ran over here, and I saw your reaction. You saw the live stream, and it's been around this gig for a while. It's pretty shocking. And then the class act that Shea is, she drives over to be sure that Jason's okay. That's pretty strong.
Yeah, it's hard. We've been battling with these cars. We've been having to push them so hard to keep up with the current cars that they're that they have in the class. That, it just shows you they're having to drive them that hard, and one wrong move over a curb or anything, I'm not exactly sure where it happened or how it happened, but just thank God that Jason's okay and all the safety gear. I'm glad nobody else was taken out in the accident. So, yeah, we'll see. Looking forward to seeing him and making sure he's okay.
Got all that. Guys, back to you.
Thanks very much, Kurt. It's interesting that, when they're working in the shop and they're putting in that roll cage or that harness and all these requirements that are in the rule book, and sometimes you're going, wow, this takes time. That kind of moment motivates you beyond belief. Interesting what he said about the Honda Accord. It's my understanding, Jeff, that those cars at the back of the car, the trailing arms, the mounting points, they are, so the trailing arm slopes upward essentially. And they said what happens when it's squat under acceleration or into a corner, it actually produces toe in. And they said to counter that, and this was Nick Whitmer was telling me, they have to run huge amounts of pressure in the tires and super stiff springs so the car will rotate. And he said, and that's why we saw Nick just so crazy last year with the car, coming around. He said, that's how we have to run them. And these teams just find a way to make stuff work. It's amazing.
Yeah, the way that they can get these cars rotating. There is talk about designing a rear new control arm for those Honda Accords, and got to think that they kind of need that. Looking back at our, so far right now is an update. We are under red flag. The clock has stopped. We do have some built-in time in the schedule here with the Nissan Pirelli World Challenge at VIR. Try to see if we can still remain the time. We have about 11 minutes to go here in the race session. We'll see if we can get back underway and complete the race, or will this finish under a red flag condition. But right now it's Greg Leafouge first in TC, Paul Holton second, Nick Whitmer third. Overall in our TC category.
Absolutely. In Touring Car A, it was Goulart, Copeland, and Powell at the time of the red flag. And then, of course, it was with the problems for first Kanan O'Connell and then Jake Pipel. It's P.J. Gronke out front over Travis Wache. O'Connell was able to get back on track and sits in third right now. Now, here's the situation. When it's under a red flag, there is no working on the car. Nothing like that. You just bring them in and you stop them. Hopefully we can get them going again and get this race back and underway and finish it. I'm glad they built a little time in. Good look there. There's John Weisberg in the all-black outfit. I'm sure, these racers, when they have problems, they tend to get together and commiserate.
Yeah, just start walking away. As you see the garage area here on the entrance to pit lane there. You got all the garages on the second floor, a big, huge drivers meeting on the first floor, and actually like apartment suites on the top floor here. So we talk about VIR being a motorsport resort. It really is. And you see all the great fans here on the fence line there, campers all out here for a weekend of racing here for Pirelli World Challenge. And a lot to go, even coming here live at world-challenge.com and motortrendondemand.com. We got SprintX coming up, the brand new debut of that, Greg, with you and Cal making the calls on that for that. And then, of course, the GTS class as well later on today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, next is going to, GTS will be the next race coming up, and that's scheduled to start. I'd be with us here right around 2 o'clock Eastern time for the GTS race, which is round 3 of the championship. Remember, they did not go to Long Beach, so it's been a while, about 6 weeks since they ran at St. Pete. They're all anxious to go. And then, as you said, about 3 o'clock, be ready for the SprintX. And, folks, seriously, you don't want to miss that. Huge field, some, 32 cars are anticipated to take the green. And in the Pro and Pro-Am divisions, if you will, of that, some of the drivers, we were literally, I was in the, and I'm sure you were too, up at the front in the driver's briefing. I was looking around going, I actually got a little tingly thinking, boy, when this race is going to be unbelievable. And at this track, oh, wow.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing to see, and it'll be exciting. Hopefully not as exciting as the ride that Jason Fichter took, but like I said, great to see. I know, like Grandma watching the first live stream for her here, to know that your grandson's okay. He got out of his underpower, walked away. If you're just now joining us, you see that damaged Honda Accord of Jason Fichter. There had a huge incident. He immediately got out of the car and walked away. You can tell he was not hurt, but he got his bell rung a little bit and wind knocked out of him. And we have a brand new protocol that Dr. Preston Calvert, who is a longtime competitor here in Pirelli World Challenge, has set up. So Jason will go get checked out by the doctor. We have a permanent doctor now that coming into the staff here for Pirelli World Challenge. Going to travel to each of our races, has a complete medical history of all of our drivers now. So. All led by that Cadillac Escalade medical car with a full staff on there as well that travels to each of our races. So we're really, the series stepping up their game to have the protection of our drivers and, of course, those great safety features that have been implemented by the USAC and the sanctioning organization here with WC Vision, all getting those requirements for these drivers.
Absolutely. Just to give you a little perspective, folks, through the timing sector where they do top speeds at the end of that long back straight, fastest speed turn so far, 167 plus miles an hour by one of our GT cars. So they are moving here at VIR. You don't want to miss any of the racing that's going to unfold here. And the coolest thing, Jeff, just repeat the process tomorrow. We get to see every one of these divisions race again tomorrow. Yeah,
it was right there in turn number 9 where Jason Fichter had his incident. And if I remember looking at my data, and my 370Z is about the same speed as that Honda Accord, and we're right at about 130 miles an hour through there. So I can tell you the severity and speed of that impact is some of the sights around this beautiful racetrack at Virginia International Raceway. Still trying to wait word on race control if we'll be able to get this back underway, but Nissan, of course, the official vehicle here of the Pirelli World Challenge, and I saw Rick Coulette give our command to start engines here, and Tony Rivera, the lone Nissan in our touring car field in the 370Z, and of course the return of the Nissan GTR from Always Evolving in A Model Sports. You'll see that car compete later on in our SprintX category with Frankie Montecalvo and Ricardo Perez behind the wheel of those cars.
Yeah, how cool is it? How cool is it to have the Nissan back? We really missed him at the opening 2 rounds, and glad everything was able to finally get put together. And there we go. The car's up on the rollback.
And that's awesome. Yeah. The side window is still good on that car.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Exactly.
That's about it. There's not much else left.
Yeah. It was a wild ride. But good news is the car's up on the rollback, and you talked about the built-in time in the schedule just a little bit. I really hope we get a few more minutes of this racing. They're ready to go, no question.
Listen to race control. They're lining the cars up and getting them all set up to where they were before the lap previous for the red flag. So good job by our Pirelli World Challenge officials getting all those cars lined back up.
That's great news indeed. And there's a good look. You see the turn 1 just off to the left of the screen. Then there is the turn 3 that we were talking about, tricky section of track. We just get word, I believe, from race control when we go green, Jeff, 10 minutes. So that's some good race time, about five laps or so.
Yeah, I believe it's actually going to be 10 minutes from the time it goes back to yellow flag. So we'll have a little slower lap for the yellow flag. So about 8 minutes, 7.5 minutes or so here. So it's going to be a sprint race if it wasn't already a sprint race here coming to the end. Tony Rivera turned down to the inside, though. I'm not sure where he's going to line up where he was running. Let me see. That's the Rivera, the 34, should be lining up in the 10th place. So I think there's just a matter of them trying to get all these cars worked out on where they need to be.
Yeah, I think that, whenever you throw the red, as you said, you go back to the previous lap, and if things happen under a red flag, people check up, and so they come into the pits not necessarily in the right sequence. So you have to make those adjustments. So we've got cars heading back out onto the track. That is such good news. For the teams that set their car up for it to come in a little bit later in the race, to be really good at the end. That they're the teams that might be affected by this because they don't have 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 laps to really get the car working, and they're going to have to just drive around that.
Yeah, the car that I think amongst this lead group of 6 cars you see here that's going to help the best is going to be Paul Holton in that Audi RS3 LMS. It's a front-wheel drive car, and you're asking that front tire to do a lot. You're asking it to steer. You're asking it to brake all that weight. You're asking it to accelerate. So you're really putting a lot of wear and tear on those Pirelli P0 tires in a front-wheel drive car. Having this little bit of a break and only a 10-minute sprint, I think he might have a little bit of an advantage here coming up.
Yeah, it's a very good point. And we've already seen that car wherever he seems to put it on the track. It just sticks and works and goes. You see some of the drivers opening the door. Remember, folks, these cars, the way that they're structured, they're not like a full-on prototype where everything is the air is managed. But when you're just sitting and that car, that engine, everything is just hot as can be, and you're sitting in 90-degree high humidity weather, and there's nothing blowing through that car. Sometimes it's under cautions and red flags where you really take a physical beating here, and you can see the drivers trying to use the door as a fan a little bit, and it's because it is exceptionally toasty here. This is summer Southern Virginia weather, no question.
Yeah, looking on our timing and scoring app that you can follow along at world-challenge.com. It's 84.7 degrees here right now with a 68% humidity.
Yeah.
So when you're racing in these cars and they're sealed up the way they are, especially on the RS3 with windows, it's amazing to see how it goes probably 120 to 130 degrees inside these vehicles.
Yep, very, very toasty. It looks like they're just getting the back of the field in some sort of order here that they need, and then we'll be able to go racing. And it's a great idea that they were able to build in, as you said, some additional time in the schedule just in case things happen. That's absolutely great.
Yeah, looking at the field here, we're still trying to get everybody lined up back in our Touring Car A and our Touring Car B field, trying to make it safe and good for everybody. So we want to always have that going through, of course, lining up 53 different vehicles as you come through here.
Right. Of course, want to remind everybody once again that you're not going to want to go too far, because not too long after this race ends, especially with the extension here, we're going to be getting ready to go racing for the 3rd round of the GTS Championship, and that's proving to be a pretty exciting class this year. We've got some drivers that didn't run at St. Pete that are proving to be very quick here, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see how that all plays out, certainly. All right. Looks like the pace car is moving. By the way, the car that Jake Pipal is driving here in the professional Pirelli World Challenge Touring Car B class is the car that none other than multi-time SCCA champion David Daugherty runs in the SCCA club events. Remember, he did that with Tom O'Gorman last year. They split a car. Tom ran it in the pro races. David ran it in the club races. David won gold at the national championship. O'Gorman won a championship. So Jake, no pressure,
Yeah, it looks like Justin Raphael did not start his car, so he could not get his car going, and trying to get the field back underway. I think that was one of his teammates right behind him. Maybe need to go ahead and hurry up and give him a push. There he goes. That's what they did. They gave him a push to get that car started. He got underway, and it's always good to have teammates doing that. And with, like you said, 10 minutes to go here until we get done at the end. It's going to be a barn burner here at the end. If it wasn't exciting before, it's going to be exciting now. As the leaders, they got the field all back underway. But how about that for David Daugherty? And I know with winning the championships, he actually gets a chance to come and race a Pirelli World Challenge race here, and that's sort of taken care of by the series and Honda and everything like that. So great to see. Hopefully we'll get to see him a little bit later.
That'd be nice. But I know David, and he's not going to kick Jake out of the car to be able to come in and do it, so they need to come up with another Honda Fit. But I think that would be the right thing to do. It'd be fun to see both of them back and running together one of these races at least. Good looking field there. And I'll tell you, Cody Ellsworth, remember, he had dropped way back, getting caught in all that traffic, and he now has an opportunity. And that car was fast in the opening few laps, that Cayman.
Yeah, it was super fast. So we'll see if he can have that pace there. And saw a great shot there on board with Anthony Gerasi, the number 69 Audi RS3 LMS. Ran in the Touring Car division last year, won at his home race in Lime Rock in a Mazda MX-5. Decided that he wanted to move back to the TCA category here, and ended up, when they announced this new Audi program, just went ahead and purchased one. The team got the car last week.
Wow.
And
recent, yeah.
weren't going to race it because they don't. You have to buy a Festool fuel probe. You got to buy the air jack system probe. But with the influx of all these RS3 LMSs, there's a lot of extra parts laying around. People were able to give him what he needed. He's able to come here with the SAC racing team and run his brand new car first race out.
Perfect. You love stories like that. Good camaraderie in the paddock.
Still has the new car smell.
Yeah, you got to love that. And I'll tell you, another guy that's going to benefit, and you hate to see it when it comes at the expense of a huge wreck like Jason Fichter had, but Toby Grahovic, this is going to give him an opportunity. He's not in the hunt for the win with only 10 minutes left, and he's still a long ways back in the field. But if he can pick up 5 cars, you're thinking big picture points, this is going to be beneficial for him.
Very beneficial. And everybody says that's the first race of the year. I'm not looking at points or championships. No.
Yeah. You're the defending champ.
Every single point you can get. Yep.
Field now, up and through Oak Tree.
Really trying to slow them up to get the field boxed up here, and they got plenty of room to do that here on the straightaway.
And a lot of discussion from race control here, just making sure that, but the anticipation is the lights will go out and we will go green. And Jeff, it appears that 10 minutes will start at the green, which is good news.
Yeah, it's awesome for the Pirelli World Challenge officials to be able to make that determination. They're able to go ahead and give them that full 10 minutes of race time here. Great to see, and unfortunately at the expense of Jason Fichter. But good news is, like we said, he did walk out under his own power.
Yes.
He'll get checked out at, if not the med center here, maybe the local hospital, just to make sure everything was okay, especially with a big shot like that. But like I said, good news is he was out under his own power and was definitely awake and alert.
Lights are out on the pace car, so we are going green. There you see the black number 72. That's the Team Coupe-Speed Lotus Exige in the hands of Cameron Majari. Just wanted to point that car out there. They are such good-looking cars. Your best standing start, a rookie in this championship, and a guy who hasn't been racing all that long, but boy, it's in the genes. Carl Whitmer, the number 99 Fuse machine, has jumped up, and he gets our best start award from a very, very special sponsor and supporter of this series.
Yeah, Optima batteries. Each one of these cars running one of those Optima batteries. And big activation center here in the paddock area. Come by and get your chance to win a free Optima battery. They're at that Optima battery fan zone. We'll have the autograph session there a little bit later today. Come meet all the stars and cars of Pirelli World Challenge. That's why it's always good to come to an event instead of watching here. As you see our Cadillac ATS-V pace car pulling in and going green. So once Greg Lafouge enters our VP fuel acceleration zone, he can go, and does he? Boy, Paul Holton was caught sleeping there. Is coming around here and going green.
Yep, but I asked that question of our race control officials. I said, where is it they can start to roll? And Brian Till looked at me and said, turn 17, plan it. We're good with that. And obviously, the guy who's leading right now, Greg Lafouge, listened.
Yeah, he paid attention in that driver's meeting, that's for sure. As Nick Whitmer now, does he have anything left here for Paul Holton? And maybe can go up there and battle, make it a BMW 1-2. But looks like Paul Holton's going to be able to held off with Nick Whitmer here. And we got battles all throughout the field. There's a couple guys off there in turn number 1 as well.
Running a bit wide. Another one.
That's Mason Felipe, I believe, running a little wide there on the exit of turn number 1 and 2. And you see how I told you it's just so far off. Yep. You can't even turn back on the track until you're totally straight.
All right, now here we go through turn 5, 5A, and here is 6 in the run through. Snake and building speed all the way here. And Holton was able at this stage to dissuade Whitmer just a little bit.
Come up through these flying S's and back to the first left, then the right-hander that you see, and then back to the left again. That was right where Jason Fichter has his incident. Going back to our TCA leaders here is Tony Rivera trying to work through that, but it is still Elevon Goulart, Dean Copeland, and it looks like that's Eric Powell back there in third place, and Matthew Fosnot worked his way back up to fourth after being shoved off the track a little bit earlier.
Yeah, remember, he was pole sitter, Fosnot was, and then got that moment with Henderson, and this is going to help him too. Good opportunity for them there. Now Rivera has worked his way through and clear. And, boy, these three, they just put on amazing racing last year, and they're doing it again when you add in Copeland into the mix. And then this touring car group, and Jake Peipel, after that moment and that run, to get him back and in the queue here, doing a nice job. I'm a little surprised that Kanan is wasn't able to stay right with these guys. I wonder if he had a couple of other cars between him and this group of 4.
But PJ Gronke leading over Travis Wache, and PJ, he says, man, I just want to win a race. He's never won a Pirelli World Challenge race. He's in the catbird seat here. Hold it together, my friend. 8 more minutes here. Travis Wache in second. And the number 77, how about that for Taylor Handwerk in that Mini, sitting back there in 3rd place in a podium spot.
Yeah, PJ Gronke is last year 6 second-place finishes. Never could get that win. You know that guy is hungry. One of the nicest. Well, he comes from Canada, so that goes without saying. One of the nicest guys ever, and passionate about this sport. And boy, it'd be nice to see him get one here this season sometime. Holton trying to get one and working right now. Leah Fouge over pretty good, Jeff.
Well, we saw Paul Holton had his hand out the window on that pace lap. He's got the driver's window down a little bit. I think he's starting to overheat a little bit. We just got word from race control that they asked the medical car to meet car number 71 at the end of the race. So Paul Holton still sitting here in 2nd place and probably using all that adrenaline he's got in his body to keep on the pressure of Leah Fouge. Superb drive for him. Getting a little warm in that car.
I bet. And yeah, I mean, he's been running with those windows up, and of course, you know, that just makes it slippery, obviously. And the trade-off is you know, immense heat inside the car. Wow, that's such a great section of racetrack.
Come down the hill. Paul Holton looks to the outside. Leah Fouge protects to the inside, which you're allowed to do. Comes through here, and you see right over that curve, brings the car back to the outside. Paul Holton did a great job there. Didn't follow. Just made sure that he made that. As look at Matthew Fosnot leading there. As I'm not sure who that went off, but Fosnot and then Eric Powell 1-2. I don't know what happened to Elevon Goulart as he's back to 3rd place now.
And I think Copeland maybe was the guy who had that moment back there. Also some issues.
Rodrigo Salas off in the exit of Oak Tree there. As Eric Powell now looking all over the back of Fosnot, who's worked his way all the way back up to the lead.
What a great recovery drive by Fosnot, realizing it's never over. Just stay with it here. And he's done an absolutely superb job.
And Fosnot getting coached here this weekend by Justin Pistatel. They actually went through and ran both model years of this MX-5 to see which one was going to be better. They didn't get the roofs actually delivered till Friday to get on these cars, and decided the aero differences in the global MX-5 Cup car was a little bit better than the older MX-5. Decided to go ahead and run that. You see a lot of guys sticking their hands out the windows here trying to get cool as the temperature over 85 degrees now.
Yep, and that humidity, it's just a pump here, and that's the kicker here. But Fosnot doing a nice job. Here's the run down the roller coaster. Good crowd on hand, enjoying some great touring car action. Meanwhile, onto the back straight now, onto Madison Avenue, as they call it, comes our scrum of touring car B runners at this stage. And it's still Gronke with Wache behind him. And look at O'Connell coming. He'd been way, way back. And now he's coming up and leaning a little bit on the 77. A handwork, as you talked about, doing a great job. And Pipel down to the inside of both of them, Jeff.
Yeah, he took the better line through there. O'Connell still not clear of handwork there as they come down here into turn number 14. 5 minutes to go here in the race. PJ Gronke, Travis Wache closing the gap. And TCB comes right on that back bumper down here in roller coaster.
This is that turn. It's almost a double apex left. And you can see Gronke just protecting a little bit here and there, Jeff. Just making sure that he's not leaving any kind of an opening for anybody at this stage.
Getting word that it was an incident between Elevon Goulart and Dean Copeland that caused those both drivers to have that. As here goes Pipel go around Wache, just a power move down the straightaway over that Mini as he puts the hunt here onto PJ Gronke. 4.5 minutes to go. PJ has to hold it together here to try to get his first Pirelli World Challenge win. Kanan O'Connell down to the inside of Wache.
Both of them.
And makes the pass right there. Wow. That's got to be the move of the race there for Kanan O'Connell. Into second place, it's Tech Sport Racing 1-2 in TCB with 4 minutes to go.
That was superb. And right now, Kanan O'Connell is PJ Gronke's buddy. He's that exactly, because we know Pipel in that Honda Fit has been very, very quick. And that move by O'Connell really is going to be of help here now. But the problem is that O'Connell got through there and really was able to close that margin up a little bit. It's almost like PJ maybe had just a little bobble and he lost a good 3-4 car lengths.
It's one of those interesting things now is O'Connell going to play the good teammate, or is O'Connell going to go for the win here?
Yeah. Well, it depends. If Kanan is on board for the season, you know he's going for the win. If he's just doing a one-off here once again, you know he's a class act, I would think. and would do whatever he could to help his teammate here.
Problem for your fourth place, Cody Ellsworth in TC, dropping back down. He's down to 23rd now.
Yeah.
Not sure what happened there, but here it is. PJ Gronke, Kanan O'Connell hard on the brakes down here into Oak Tree. It's PJ Gronke. You see that little bobble he had there, and you can't do that coming down on the straightaway. Right to the corner, straighten that wheel up as quick as we can, and we'll see if Kanan O'Connell, I think he's a sitting duck now. Gronke's going to be here as it comes down the straightaway.
Yeah, and you mentioned Ellsworth, and he was so quick on the opening laps at the start of the race, and he was falling back almost immediately, so he's got some sort of an issue. But look at that, Kanan not really trying to make a move or anything. He's just right there saying, I'm going to work with you. Now let's see if Kanan pops at any point here, or if he just stays in position. And stays in position.
I think that was
great teamwork.
O'Connell was playing the teammate thing there. Let's try to get away from this car behind us, and then we can battle out with 1 lap to go after this. So it's going to see how this plays out. TCB, like we said, some of the closest, best racing you'll see here in Pirelli World Challenge is it's going to be Gronke, O'Connell, and now Pipel trying to see if he can make a move for second place over Kanan O'Connell.
With 2 minutes to go, I'm not sure. We might see the white this time. It just depends on when they get there. How close is it going to be?
Going to be white flag for the TC leader, Lafuge, who's behind these.
That's
so there's about 2 laps to go for these cars.
Yeah, so they get some time to run here. Meanwhile, here we go.
And Holton's got around.
Boy, hasn't he?
Lafuge.
That now, white flag. So it's Holton, Lafuge, and here comes Whitmer. A little bit of a run on the back of Lafuge here. That FAF Auto Group, C360R, great program out of the Toronto area. FAF Automotive up in Toronto, huge supporter of racing for many, many years. And they really put together this program with the folks at C360R. Ooh, it's a nice move there. Again, Lafuge, that 01, one of the touring car B cars, Jasper Drengler, was right there, and Lafuge giving him a lot of room.
Yeah, but Paul Holton really pulling away from these 2 cars now, saved it till the end there. And I said it during that red flag that car was going to benefit, I believe, from that thing, able to save some of those Pirelli P0 tires. And it looks like Paul Holton back at the TCB field there, depending on where he catches it, even going to gap those a little bit more as you come down the hill here into Oak Tree.
Well, that was forced his way through on it was Wache, I think, but Wache saw him coming and opened the wheel up and gave him that little bit of room, gave him the opportunity. Holton hard up on that curb, though, and that little bit of time in traffic, you look at that, you've got now Lafuge right back with him, Whitmer right there as well. They should clear this entire touring car group here, and Kanan O'Connell has now gone around Gronke into the lead.
Yeah, I think Kanan played the teammate game before that, and now he's playing the racing game, back up to first place, passing his teammate. Second place, and then Pipel in third. Here's Whitmer looking to the outside of Lafuge.
Yeah, tough to make it work here. And he was thinking if he got close enough, he'd be in the inside for that little right-hand kink, but you got to be almost past by the time you get there. Otherwise, it is not going to end well for anybody at this stage. And this is just what Whitmer's thinking. I got speed. I could maybe go after Holton at this stage. But the problem is that Lafuge has no intention of just letting him go. Now, Lafuge, he moved to the inside. He can do that. But as the checker comes out, Holton's going to get the win. Whitmer swings out wide, but didn't have enough momentum to make that slipstream move here. What's going on in Touring Car B? O'Connell is going to come through. Looks like he's got the win. Kanan O'Connell, what a run there, and Holton, what a debut for the Audi RS3.
Not bad for him getting that debut win there. You see the fans down there, the C360R team out there written as it's Elevon Goulart now in Fosnot first and second. The teammates there is Fosnot going around his teammate down here into turn number 14. Eric Powell back in third, and Will Patterson up to fourth place as they're battling here. We'll see if Powell to the inside of Goulart making that move.
He's going to force the issue here. Now Goulart, if he can stay put, he's got the inside for that next little kink. Down the hill we go, heading toward Hogpen. The last turn, bottom of the hill, opening round of the 2017 Pirelli World Challenge Touring Car Championships, Touring Car A. Your pole sitter, Matt Fastnot, dropped early, got hit, fell to the back. Is he going to do it, Jeff? coming to the line. Matt Fastnot pole to outside of the top 5 to the win. What a story.
And Spencer Patterson back there in 4th place, number 79, started all the way back in the 12th position in TCA, goes all the way to 4th, his best showing in Pirelli World Challenge. Congratulations to Spencer Patterson there in 4th place.
What a run for Spencer. Yeah, great story there. And look at that for Paul Holton. And I think you called it perfectly. That red, after he pushed those tires hard, allowed that front-wheel drive car to cool those fronts just a little bit, and he put it to good use. And Whitmer, boy, so close at the end to Leah Fouge.
Yeah, it's going to be a great race here coming up tomorrow as you look at the fastest race laps as well. And that was Anthony Gerasi, who moved all the way up to 4th place in that Audi R8 LMS, sitting on pole, a 2:01.874, faster than they went in the qualifying session for race number 1.
That's pretty impressive stuff, isn't it? So he will start on pole. And that's an important point to note, is the fast laps that you turned in this race establish the starting lineup for the next race. And having a look here, Fastnot's best lap was a 2:12.9, Goulart 2:13. However, it was no, I'm sorry, that was a different class car. So looks as though we are going to have Fastnot on pole again.
Wow, for TCA, awesome job there. And you see our Cadillac medical car, and Paul Holton there is requesting that. He's going to come down here for his winner's circle interview, and we'll get him checked out, of course. And I think, when you win a race,
yes,
a lot of that pain and suffering you're doing makes it a lot easier and a lot better.
And as I'm looking,
trying to get water into him now. He's not going to be able to come down there for his interview with Kurt Hansen, but got to get medical on him, trying to get him cooled off. Severely overheated for him there in the car.
And it looks as if it'll be Keenan O'Connell on pole for the Touring Car B race coming up tomorrow. And I'll tell you what, there may be a little adjustment here. A 2:12.9 was turned by Copeland, so he may actually be on pole over Fastnot here at a 2:12. He had a 9.2. Fastnot did, Copeland a 9.1. So it's that close. Wow, some great stuff here that we're going to be watching for. And good stuff. So, wow, Holton, he's out. He's getting a bit of a bath right at the moment, and just trying to cool off just a little bit. So it's a tough day of action in the hot cockpit. But I'll tell you, knowing now just how rough it was for him physically, for him to be able to maintain that focus and bring home this win, that's impressive stuff.
It really is, and that speaks volumes to him as a driver. Started off in our touring car B-Spec category class and all the way up here into the echelon of touring car racing now. Been doing a lot of racing here worldwide, and get all of our drivers on the cars going underway here. We'll try to get down to pit lane here to get our winners as quickly as we can, but Keenan O'Connell, your TCB winner. I got to think Dad Johnny is down there getting that kid's first race win here in Pirelli World Challenge.
Got to be loving that. And I think it was just, at the end, he just had too much pace that if he didn't go on PJ, Pipo was going to get them both. And I think Keenan just said, what should we do here? And I'm sure the team said, hey, you got to go. So. And I'm sure that didn't bother Keenan all that much.
Yeah, looking at our cars coming down here through pit lane. Got to get them, try to clear it off as quick as we can so GTS can get their race underway here. But congratulations to your race winner once again, Matthew Fastnot, picking up his first win here in Pirelli World Challenge in our TCA category.
So, wow, an interesting start to the 2017 Pirelli World Challenge Touring Car season for Touring Car A, and Touring Car B. And there is Keenan O'Connell hopping out of the car. Happy guy, and running up to join him, Kurt Hansen.
Keenan O'Connell, boy, another O'Connell in victory lane. What a shock, huh? I think that hat is for you, young man. The Pirelli World Challenge hat. Hey, congratulations, great drive. Talk to me about it, because I couldn't see most of it, but that was just a freaking Donnybrook.
That was, man, I got to tell you, that was one of the most fun bits of driving I've ever done in my life, man. That was, had a pretty bad situation early on, but in one of those deals, you don't give up, and that's proof right there that what happens when you don't.
Playing good teammate?
Oh, yeah. You know, we were, PJ and I are really good together. You know, I feel like he broke a little bit earlier, and I saw the move, and when you hear last lap, it's something you got to take. So, got to do what you got to do.
Got to do what you got to do. That's Kanan O'Connell right there, our winner in TCB. Nice stuff.
Well, do what you have to do, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
That simple.
There's Dad right there. Johnny O'Connell coming over. Old chip off the old block, and I do mean old for Johnny O'Connell. With Kanan O'Connell getting the win there. You see Darren Law used to work with him at Bondurant driving school as well. So the whole family, the band's back together.
I haven't seen a smile that big on Johnny's face in a long time. That is one proud papa. Absolutely wonderful. Congratulations to Kanan O'Connell. Congratulations to Matt Vosnot. Pulled the win. That's always pretty special. And, of course, just a great job at the front by Paul Holden. And obviously, Paul was a bit overcome by the heat, so not going to get a chance to hear from him. So that's pretty much going to wrap things up here for our live coverage on the stream here of the Pirelli World Challenge Touring Cars season opener here at the Nissan Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix at VIR. Again, do keep in mind, folks, with the pushback here on the schedule just a little bit, you're not going to want to wander too far away from your computer or your TV, because we're going to be back in very short order with the third round of the Pirelli World Challenge GTS Championship, and some great stories unfolding there as well. We'll see you in just a minute.
Whole group, or do you just want me to go like kind of pan through them a little bit? Did you want me to just get a wide of everyone, or did you want me to kind of get a close and pan through everyone? Copy.
from our partners, Optima Battery and Pirelli Tire. Drivers, start your engines.
SVA SAC Racing. The Pirelli World Challenge here at Virginia International Raceway, all part of the Nissan Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix at VIR. Greg Creamer alongside with Calvin Fish. Welcome, everybody, as we are ready to go racing. Third round of the championship. Cal, it's been a while since we've seen these cars race. They didn't go to Long Beach, so it was way back in early March at St. Pete.
Yeah, it's like another off-season for some of these guys, so I know they'll be chomping at the bit here today to get back to green flag action. And what a sensational pole position for Jeff Courtney. He knows this track well, had a lot of time with this race car in the Trofeo Series, so he had a good notebook to work with. But you know, a young superstar alongside him. We've been excited to see how Nico would do. Nico Germain in that crossbow, lining up on the outside of the front row in the number 13 Ansa Motorsport entry. He's won in pretty much everything he's driven in, and certainly this weekend has shown great pace as well. Including the most recent Indy Lights race at Barber. Got his first win, the young Frenchman. They're starting to refer to him as an all-rounder because anything he gets in, he's successful in. Rodrigo Baptista in the number 3, that is the Porsche Cayman running from Flying Lizard Motorsports, the GT4 Club Sport MR. Very, very solid run as well. Just a couple of tenths off of that front row. And Anthony Mantella, it's kind of funny, in the first practice session, Martin Barkey, Anthony's teammate, was significantly quicker than Anthony, and I said, well, you're going to rectify that because I know all that stuff sits with you. And he said, oh yeah, we're going to figure this one out. And boy, did he, in qualifying, jumping up to 4th in the number 8 Mantella Autosports Crossbow GT4. Simply may not go off the grid. Oh, interesting. Correctly, because he's further in the pack as we're looking the cars roll around on this formation lap in the. Oh, good point. Golf liveried machine there. There's Barkey, his teammate, who's always quick, and in the middle of them is Lawson Aschenbach, and a big story unfolding there, Cal. Yeah, I mean, it's not a good one either. No. I mean, Lawson had a problem with the differential on his Camaro in qualifying this morning, and they don't have a spare, so Tony Gaples, the team owner, and in the lead in the GTS A category this year, has had to give up his car and transfer that differential over to Lawson's car. Obviously, he's the main threat for the championship, so not an easy decision to make, but Lawson can't afford to sit out a round, or the weekend for that matter. There's no part on hand this weekend here. Yeah, unfortunate, because Tony Gaples, one of the most experienced driver with huge numbers of starts here in the field, but doing what he needs to do from a team perspective, and you'd expect nothing less, and he would expect to do nothing less either. Sitting back in 7th overall is the fastest of our GTS AM category drivers, Jason Bell in the Racer's Edge Sin R1 GT4. Fastest of the AM drivers in 7th overall. Ian James in the second weekend of racing for the Pinos Avezzano GT. And interesting story there, Cal. They haven't done one bit of testing since St. Pete, but the reason is a good one, is it took them, they just were working on installing a full paddle shift. And I asked Tom Milner, I said, is it one of those mechanical, paddle shift things? He said, no. He said, this is full fly-by-wire. He said, that's why it took so long for us to get it in the car. But obviously, it's going to make it a lot easier package to drive. Yeah, I spoke to Ian James yesterday. He said the car seems a lot better. They've really been working on the aero, the dynamics of the front end of that car, as you can see there, just going through the picture, in terms of getting the cooling a little bit better as well. So they're just working on it, trying to get it into a better place. And again, that car runs without full homologation at this stage, but certainly they're just trying to see how it fits into the box here in terms of the performance window of these cars. Lights out on the pace car. And I think one of the great stories for Courtney in that pole lap was they have been struggling. Mid last week, he said, I was really frustrated looking at my computer thinking, maybe I just need to quit doing this, because they were having an electronic issue they couldn't find. They rebuilt the Maseratis top to bottom, and he said, we just came with this problem. We couldn't test. It kept locking in gear. And interesting story. We'll fill it in a little bit, but he got motivationally inspired just a little bit to stay with it here. And keep in mind, folks, that car, no TC, no ABS, and he put it on pole here. Just a tremendous effort. Lights out on the pace car, Cal. Yeah, and that's going to be a big thought on his mind as they get down into that brake zone. He doesn't have ABS compared to the other GT4 machines. So you cannot flat spot a tire early. It's all going to be settled now. 50 minutes of racing about to unfold. Round 3, Pirelli World Challenge GTS Championship at VIR for the first time since 2010. We are green, heading into the horseshoe. Great start by our pole sitter, Courtney. It looks like Baptista is going to go with him. Germain gets a little bit left there at the start. He's going to try and go the long way around, try and make that crossbow stick to the outside. Then it's Aschenbach settles into the 4th position, followed by Barkey.
That was a nice move by Aschenbach, and as you pointed out, with Mantella slipping back a little bit, it cost him. Oh, look at Nico Schaman's move down to the inside at turn 3, Cal, and he may have just pulled that off.
Yeah, did he open the door for Lawson Aschenbach as well? He now tries to go side by side through turn 4.
Boy, and Baptista now actually gets a nose inside Aschenbach again. And Lawson may have, he's asked to settle and slip back into that 4th spot. And when you think about it, Cal, other than Baptista, everybody in front of Aschenbach, they're not in it for the full season. So he's got to continually be mindful of that aspect, doesn't he?
He does, and he's a savvy guy. He'll know exactly what everyone's doing for the season in terms of what he's been told anyway. And I mean, obviously plans can change, but he's not going to fight it too hard. But this young man, look at him. Immediately to the front, and this is what that crossbow needs to do. Get track position. It can run the lap time. Sometimes it's hard for those guys to race, but right now Nico Germain is out front.
Well, I'll tell you, and the CV that he has at this young age is impressive, and a lot of people are saying he may well be very special. And boy, he sure looks like it early in this one. Now, Aschenbach, a little bit of a head of steam up here, closing in on the back of Baptista in the Flying Lizard Porsche. Not quite close enough, I don't think. Oh, big move there. Is that Ian James?
Making for a wave by Martin Barkey. Barkey fights him hard there. And it's Jason Bell looking strong this weekend once again.
Yeah, he's been an impressive add to the championship.
He really has, and we're yet to get clarification on exactly why Mantella started so far back, having qualified in that 4th position. I'm not sure if he just didn't roll off cleanly from the pit lane, or whether there's some kind of penalty that was imposed on him since the qualifying sheet was distributed. Look at the run-on. There's Courtney having to defend. You can see Aschenbach just sitting out there in the wings. Barkey and James again side by side down into turn 1. Things settling in. Pirelli tire temperatures should be finding their sweet spot right now as Ian James continues to look for a way by Martin Barkey. Barkey in there really deep. Wow, that was impressive. How he was able to roll that speed through turn 3 with that crossbow. Amazing.
Yeah, he really has figured that car out and how to drive it. Oh, big spin. That's
Bell.
Jason Bell.
Oh, Clennon there. A few guys going through the weeds to take evasive action.
Is Bell? No, he's moving. I thought for a minute there he might have been high-sided, but good to see him able to drive off. And it's the climbing S's here. And Nico Germain just whistling up through them here. Another look at the moment for Bell.
Yeah, it just looked like a lazy spin there coming through turn 4. Just lost the rear end, just as I was saying. The Pirelli tire temp should be in their sweet spot. He loses grip.
Well, that corner, don't you? I mean, really, it's essentially almost a throwaway corner. And if you're trying to tighten up the exit to get a better run through the next 2, and if you pinch it too tight, that can happen, huh?
Exactly. If he was trying to set up for the exit of that section, he could have just used too much steering input with the right foot, and that's going to break the traction of the tires. Here we've seen Jeff Courtney. He's been strong all weekend long, led a practice session earlier in this weekend, and then really just grabbed his first Pirelli World Challenge pole position in nice fashion here this morning.
Yeah, he did. Late in the session, he just popped to the top. And here's the margin, folks. That's the impressive part. 7 1/1000ths of a second between Courtney in his pole run and Germain qualifying in the 2nd spot. I talked to some of the folks from Nate Stacey, of course, also runs with Flying Lizard, and obviously Baptista qualifying a few spots in front of him. And they said Nate's problem is he still gets into the mental set of driving the Mustang, and he gets into a set where he wants to kind of throw the car around. And he said once he figures out that this is a finesse car, he'll be fine. And I went, I have no question about that, but I'm sure Nate's a little frustrated right now.
Oh, absolutely. It is a totally different driving style, and the good thing is he's got a good team around him. He's got good teammates, so he can look at the data, try and learn. And just spoke to Jim Bell right before we walked into the booth here this afternoon, Greg, and he said, yeah, both these guys are really impressive. He said, obviously, Baptista is getting the job done right now, but he said, I believe Nate Stacey is learning quickly and will be a force to be reckoned with here in a few races.
Yeah, I asked his dad about that. I said, he'll get it right. And his dad looked at me and said, he's too ornery not to. He'll make it work.
Yeah, he's going to get feisty if the results don't start to come. But the key is not to overdrive the car, because that will just actually push him further back. I mean, what he needs to do is just settle down, let the car do the work, roll the speed through the corners with that Cayman, and let the platform give you the grip.
Good-looking car, that Maserati.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It really is. Out of Oak Tree in a long run. They call it Madison Avenue here. This is a really, really long straight, and it really lets you see who's got that straight line speed. And Gemma looks to be fairly decent at this stage.
Yeah, there was a round of balance performance changes since the last race, and certainly everyone had a little bit of adjustment at seam, but it's good to see this crossbow actually looking racy around the whole circuit. We've seen it so often be really quick through the corners. It's lighter weight, very nimble. It would really struggle down some big straightaways, but today it looked to be a pretty even match.
There's Lawson Aschenbach, obviously, in the Camaro. That is the official Chevy Camaro GT4, and it made its debut at St. Pete, and pretty nicely with a pole. And he drove very, very wisely there. I think he ended up with a couple of seconds, and was just getting points. And you know, it's obviously it's still a little heavier package because of the big V8 than some of these other cars. And you got to manage it well, and I don't think there's many people better than Lawson at that.
No, he had to do that to great effect last year, and just came up short in the championship to Brett Sandberg, who won with the crossbow. But Lawson was there all season long, and he really had to manage the weight of the car, which then we see so many long green flag runs in GTS this year. There's not a mix of classes. That cleans things up a little bit, and the guys are doing a really good solid job on the racetrack. Great directorship from the stewards room as well has really cleaned the act up. So what that means is you got to do a long green flag run with a heavy car, and for Lawson that was managing that. Spoke to his team this weekend. He said, hey, we got some weight added since St. Petersburg because of the performance there. We don't want to get back to where we were last year, where we just can't make them hang on for 50 minutes. So I'm sure right now you're relearning the platform. This is a different track to the street circuits. It's a full-on old-school road course, and for Lawson Aschenbach, he probably doesn't know quite yet what he can take out of these tires in these initial laps.
The top 5 there, broken away just a little bit at this stage. Then you see the Panos by itself of Ian James. That's running in 6th. And then Stacy, Clennon, and Mantella running in the 7th, 8th, and 9th spots. And Clennon, of course, in the McLaren 570S. The tender belly machine from Clennon Performance Racing. Getting a little bit of a run here. That's Stacy. Not quite enough. Heading into turn 14.
570S is beautiful. All of these cars are really cool looking. It's an exciting category. And we came into the season last year with all of these GT4 cars being immersed into the championship with the regular GTS platforms. Great. We didn't know what to expect, but the racing was simply spectacular, and it didn't disappoint at St. Petersburg this year.
And I like that Mark apparently has decided a McLaren should be orange.
Well, the F1 team are doing the same thing. Unfortunately, they're not getting the success they were looking for in F1. It's been a tough year for the McLaren brand over in F1. Another disappointing qualifying session this morning for Alonso and his teammate.
Ooh, Clennon thinking about it.
Yeah, he's got the pace.
Yeah, he does.
You can tell him just being patient there. Still haven't got an update on exactly why Anthony had to start so far back, having qualified 4th quickest this morning. Didn't go to the back, so it's kind of bizarre. I think it may have just, maybe the car didn't fire on the pre-grid or something like that.
Tell you what, behind him now, we've got Ari Balo, and that is the Steve Cameron Racing, Art Racing, Aston Martin, and Ari is coming right up onto the back of this queue.
Yeah, he's done a really nice job. Great team. Steve Cameron, so much experience, both behind the wheel, on the track. He's a great racer himself, and one of the most technically astute crew chiefs and team owners, managers you're going to have in the business. So they'll have that thing dialed in, that's for sure. They don't leave any stone unturned.
And then you've got Cameron Castles in the number 11. And that is the K-Sit Racing Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport MR, and his teammate Cameron Castle in the Adam Mirza on the 017.
Couple of passes going on.
I think Balo got through.
Yeah, Mantella seems to be struggling on straightaways. I'm not sure if there's some kind of electrical glitch with his car that may have caught. I'm hypothesizing here why he started further back. Maybe couldn't get it fired up, maybe not got full performance, because we haven't seen that crossbow struggle like that on the straightaway throughout the course of this weekend.
Somebody spent time looking at it before this race, huh?
cups of coffee if I can in the booth.
That'll do it.
Fired up.
Fired up, absolutely.
Okay, here comes Baptista. Gianmalo's comfortable up front, maintaining that cushion, which last time across the stripe was just under 2 seconds. But Baptista starting to put the pressure on Courtney.
And Aschenbach just sort of laying and watching. And you almost get the feeling right now that Aschenbach is sort of referencing off of Baptista. Of course, he's got Barkey right behind him, and Barkey, in theory, is he had started the season and they had put him in the A category, but I think he pretty quickly showed that no, I should really be running up in the pro category, and they have moved him up there, and they're anticipating a full season run. So right now, Lawson, the cars he's sort of in between at this stage might be, at this stage, full season contenders.
And again, I haven't really spoken in detail with Lawson about driving the car, this differential issue that they had this morning. Maybe that's something that he's got to be conscious of in terms of how he's putting the power down and stuff like that. So I'm sure he's looking to get to 50% mark was when you score points. Try and get the checkered flag here today. Get a qualifying lap in for tomorrow. Remember, your fastest lap today counts for your grid position tomorrow.
Currently, that would be Zeman. It's always a trade-off. Obviously, it's very warm and humid, so there's going to be that effect on the tires and on the cars. Burning off fuel, car gets lighter, but tire deg, less grip out there. It's all about when that magic moment comes when you think, yep, car's at probably its best. We got to get a lap right now.
Yep. Sometimes that can come, you can try and, use the tire to its maximum potential at the beginning, get that balance where you got slightly lighter fuel load and still some good grip left in the tires, or wait till the car's the lightest. And that's the great thing about the Pirellis. We saw fast laps being recorded at the beginning and at the end of races last year. It seems to really hang on there well.
Aschenbach closing in just a little bit on the back of Baptista. Young 20-year-old. Caught the eye of everybody after having a solid run in the Blancpain, both the sprint and endurance championship last year. And Darren Law and the Flying Lizards team said, we'd like to bring him over here and let him run, and he has not disappointed. He's been quite impressive.
Yeah, I mean, because we have high regards for Nate Stacey, so admittedly Nate's just trying to get to grips with the balance of this Cayman platform. But for anyone to come in like Baptista and showcase his talent so quickly in the season, I mean, he comes into this third round of the championship, 13 points behind Aquilante, who's not here, and Aschenbach. So effectively, he's really sitting second in points right now after 2 rounds, and he sits ahead of Aschenbach on the road. So
Barkey's closing it up just a little bit, and there is the number 25, and that a newcomer to the field here, running as well for the ANSA Motorsports team. Young driver, 15 years old, making his debut here in the Pirelli World Challenge Championship. Just recently out of karting is Rico Schlemo, and he just apparently having a little bit of a problem in the early going here, Cal.
Yeah, young talent, certainly cutting his teeth. He knows this racetrack quite well. He also knows the car quite well, but obviously the combination, first race weekend, there's a lot to tackle and a lot to really get a grasp with.
Boy, what a golden opportunity for him to be able to compare data with Nico, though, huh? Nico and Rico, there's your team. I like that.
It's looking pretty smooth here. Haven't really seen the car out of shape at all. It's a really good platform. We saw that last year with the amount of victories and pole positions and fast laps that Sandberg was able to put together. And the Mantella Autosport team as well. I mean, they were very, very strong. I think the engineering squad there is excellent and really give those two boys good race cars every weekend.
Working through Snake. There's 2 great sections of S's here. This is the first one. And Rico back out and underway.
Just getting word that Mantella's grid position was a penalty that was carried over for some contact at St. Petersburg. Remember down in Town 1 there was a crombolage, as one of our friends likes to call it, and I was not aware of that penalty carrying over to this weekend in terms of the grid.
All right. Apparently it was just a petite.
Track limits is always a hot button with Brian Till, but they've pretty much been given free range here this weekend.
Yep.
He said, do be careful coming off there, because a little bit further down the road is that kind of a club pit lane that you're seeing off. That's not the pit lane that the guys would use if they needed to come into the pits. That's on the front straightaway, so there's an additional pit lane there, but there's a pit lane entrance tire barrier, an Armco barrier there that he's not real comfortable with if you do keep racing out in that area of the racetrack off of Oak Tree.
Well, that's one of the things with this track. They call it America's Motorsport Resort, and you've got the full course, the north course, the south course, and so you could literally run 2 different events at the exact same time. That would be one of the pit lanes, and then they combine the tracks to make it this absolutely phenomenal 3.27 mile they call the full course here. Looks like Lawson's starting to pick it up just a little bit relative to Baptista. Not attacking yet, but he's just closer. He's annoying him a little bit.
Yeah, and I think he's going to try and annoy him a little bit more if we see Barkey getting any closer, because he doesn't want to lose another spot, that's for sure.
Mantella trying to get down and underneath the 0.18 of Cameron Castles here. He couldn't quite get it done.
Look at this again with Mantella on the straightaway. He just seems to be down on power a little bit, Greg, to me.
Yeah, he does. As you get into the braking zones or anything in the twisty bits, he just comes right back. 33.5 minutes remaining here in this third round of GTS, and it's kind of settled at this stage. Martin Barkey just uncorked a 156.519, and that right now is fast lap of the race. Always important, obviously.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. One, it gives you the best starting spot in the field, and also it's worth an additional point. So, because of that pole.
Points make prizes, so at the end of the year, they can add up. And it's like, oh, 1 point, what's the big deal? But you suddenly see someone grab 6, 7, 8 bonus points throughout the course of the year.
Yep.
That's a big difference, a big delta at the end of a championship year. Can move you up a spot, sometimes even clinch a championship versus someone who didn't get the bonus points.
In the background here is Jason Bell, who is the fastest of the AM drivers in qualifying, and is trying to work his way back up through the field. Just got around. That is the Porsche Cayman of Adam Merzon.
Some of these guys have a quick turnaround. The SprintX race comes up very quickly after this GTS race, where some of these drivers are also going to compete in that. So top them up with fuel, fresh rubber, and off you go.
Off you go.
Have fun.
Yeah, it's 4 races in 2 days, so there's that element of the strategy, which is just preservation on the first day, isn't it?
It is. And that's very much a big part of thinking clearly in terms of the big picture. You just can't afford to get too aggressive on day one, because it can really ruin your whole weekend. For example, if you have a first lap contact, you know, suddenly you're not able to run a representative race lap and get a grid position for tomorrow. So you have a bad points day today, it affects tomorrow, and it's really hard to dig your way out of.
Until at that time, able to stay at least a little bit closer to Cameron Castles in this battle for the 10th spot. Yeah,
I think the first third of the straightaway just seems to struggle.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a gear issue, and he's got has to run a higher gear coming out of that last turn or something. Bell closing on both of them at this stage. His last lap was a 58.1. For Bell, and the guys in front of him are in the 59s, mid 58s.
Well, top 5 right now. Fastest laps are all within 3 or 4 tenths, so it's very tight, and it's bouncing around a little bit in terms of who's going to get that bonus point and the poles. We'll keep an eye on that to see if anyone has got enough grip left at the end of the race to lay down a quick one. It's a great little battle here.
It is, isn't it?
Anthony looking to the inside, quite close enough. Just harassing him at this stage, just trying to make his presence felt, working him over.
Just generally being an annoyance.
That's right.
Exactly. Getting his mirrors rattling. Problem is Bell's coming, and Bell's coming quick.
Yeah, he's had pace this weekend.
Yeah, he has.
So he's really drafting up easily on Mantella, and again, we don't see the other crossbows struggling like that in comparison to the other brands, so I just think that's an individual issue versus a BOP.
So Bell now able to pick off the 11th spot, and will set sail after Castles.
What a racetrack, though. So much fun to drive. Look at this. Aschenbach starting to put the pressure on. We'll pick his line a little bit, tightening up these radiuses. Really looks like he's got that Camaro working well and managing the tires well.
It's just starting to eat up. You get the feeling, at least I do, that Nico Jamin has gone out to about that 2 seconds, and then it's just managing it at this stage, because it's always been right around 2 seconds. Courtney, I think, doing an absolutely superb job from pole, running in that very solid second right now, and being mindful not to lock tires up and the like.
Well, he said in this break he's been really working on his fitness training. He's doing this new boxing route. Oh, here we see someone off.
Looks like it might be the Castles, who was running in that 10th spot and under attack. Yep,
it is. We talked about keeping it clean. You got another race coming up in less than an hour.
Yeah, but look how far off you go.
Oh, he got touched.
He got hit.
Yeah, Jason got into the back of him.
But with this grass, that ground's still amazingly soggy.
That is a scary ride.
Look at that.
He got lucky he didn't get turned.
That's a long, long way to go. But when you consider that when teams started to roll in here on Tuesday, Wednesday, that there was water right up to the edge of the track, all the way from the hog pen through turn 1. And on the first test day, they had to put up tire barriers like a street course on the outside of 1.
I couldn't believe the pictures I was seeing on social media. It was crazy.
So they say over 2 days they got something on the order of 12 inches of rain, and it hasn't rained now in a day and a half, but it's just everything's still soggy. And the runoff here is all grass. There's no.
And typically it's downhill, kind of off camber.
Yeah. It makes it absolutely beautiful, but a bit treacherous. Good battle here. This is for the 7th spot. Mark Clennon in the Tender Belly McLaren 570S, and Ari Balo in the Steve Cameron Racing Art Racing Aston Martin Vantage GT4, and Nate Stacy, the Flying Lizard Porsche.
Yeah, this is all compacting, isn't it? Yes, concertina effect here. Right now it is tight.
Coming up on about 2 minutes away from halfway point. Courtney has reclaimed fast lap at the race at a 56.2.
Yeah, that's a big chunk quicker.
Yes, it sure is.
Relatively speaking, 3/10 clear of the other guys, so he's got pace there. See Castles get out of the way and let Baptista and company go on through.
I wonder what kind of damage he might have.
If I was him, I'd probably come in, have the crew look at it, and then if there is anything they need to do, a quick fix, get back out and get a little read on the car before the next race coming up this afternoon. Gone down a lap. There's no point in pushing a car, not knowing if there's any damage that can send you flying further off the racetrack. This is beautiful through here. You've really got to be able to ride those curbs, Greg, and have compliancy with the suspension setup to be effective. First sector, very technical. We spoke to Pat Long about this prior to coming here this weekend. He said he regarded the first sector of the track all the way before you start the climbing S as kind of technical. You know, you needed good mechanical grip. Through the S's is downforce, obviously. Longer wheelbase cars should be suited through there and floating through those corners. And then he said that final sector through the roller coaster and through Hogpen, you needed the compliancy to be able to run the curbs.
It's a track that really offers up a little bit of everything, doesn't it?
It does. It's old school. You drive in here, it just has a great vibe about the place. Everyone here has done a great job, including Kerrigan Smith, the manager of the facility.
And he's got it. He has figured this out, because I was talking to him a little bit earlier, and he said it's great to have you here. And I said, I said it's delightful to be here. I said, I love this place. And he said, you make sure and let me know if that ever changes.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he gets it.
He does.
Yeah.
And, he's got great ownership as well. I mean,
sure.
You can have all the best intentions in the world, but if you don't have the resources and the backing from your ownership and Connie Nyholm, and everyone just gives him the ability to make this a first-class facility. This is getting tight now. Lawson's got a good run on Baptista. Just back in the picture a little bit. You're going to see that battle for third getting really tight.
Over the brow they come, Jaman, Courtney, and behind them
there it is
the battle. And you're right, Lawson very, very close.
thought about it. Yeah. It's tricky there, though. That's our braking zone we were talking about. That can really give you a lot of spicy action, because on that last lap, when people start to make some moves, you can really fight it into that brake zone for 14, and you get it wrong, you go down through this field, and with the damp grass, that'll be quite a ride this weekend if you should end up out there.
So Lawson, as we now are just under halfway, or just past halfway, I should say, just under half to go, and into the horseshoe, as they call it here, turn 1.
Lawson's looking ominous. Baptista hasn't put a foot wrong so far. It seems like Lawson can really use less road to get through these corners. Baptista's having to float the kind of the idyllic line, Greg, kind of using the big radius through here, and Lawson's able to tighten up and yet stay right with him.
I just realized this section of track from the horseshoe to the exit of 2, maybe halfway to 3, very reminiscent of that first sequence of corners at Lime Rock, just a longer version of it, essentially.
Yep.
And but then it obviously gets a bit more unique.
Well, talking to a lot of the Europeans who are here for the first time, this section we're looking at right here just gets your attention. It's just, you just look at it, it's just mouth-watering. And you get to experience it from behind the wheel and floating through these corners.
Well, as we were heading to the hotel last night, we were they were shooting a commercial, and they had Alvaro Parent in the McLaren all by himself on the track, and they were just getting some video shots of him, and he was coming through that section full chat all by himself. It was magic.
Yeah, it's
something
so cool.
Yeah.
You see it on camera, but tails away as well. It's really spectacular to watch the car go through there.
This will be interesting here now. Baptista, he's moved over to that left side down this straight, and you cannot move in reaction to the driver behind you, and that was dancing on the edge of doing that, I think. Now, he'd argue, no, I was just setting up for that little left kink.
Yeah, you do kind of move around, kind of threading the needle through there in terms of the line you pick. But again, it's all about being proactive. You can't be reactive to the guy behind you.
Right.
If you can sense he's going to go, you can go there first. That's fine. But if he's already started to make that move, you have to stay put.
And what I just saw for the first time down through the exit of 17, I saw Baptista's, slicing to the inside. That Camaro's real good on the brakes.
Baptista fights him. He's going to try and take the long road around the outside, but I think Lawson should just clear him. Yes, he does, but he's not sure. I mean, he hasn't raced a lot against this guy, Greg.
Yeah.
This is probably the first side-by-side racing that he's done with Baptista. He's not sure how he's going to handle it in terms of will he get too aggressive and see any argy-bargy.
Yep. Well, what I was about to say, and I think this played into Lawson being in a position to make the move. It was the first time down through the bottom of 17 I saw Baptista's car, the back end, start to slide and step out just a little bit. And I think that was just enough to give Lawson that run. And now Baptista looks in his mirrors and sees just a small part of the top of the windshield of the crossbow.
Ooh, Lawson there, maybe a fraction off apex, but keeps it all together. Barkey's looking menacing as well. Really float speed through some of these corners at like almost a ridiculous rate.
he has figured out this car, hasn't he?
Yeah. He just lets it do its stuff. He just puts it in there and just rolls big speed, and the car hangs on. Lighter weight, so you're not loading the tire quite as much as some of the other cars in the class.
You can see, just because of that lighter weight and the restrictor on that little 2-liter turbo engine in that car, you get to a certain point down that long straight, and you just sort of run out of mojo.
But it seems a different dynamic to Mantella's. Mantella seems to struggle early, but he kind of runs out of snuff at the end.
Yeah. Oh boy, once you get to the part of the track where it's a bit busy, that crossbow is right there.
Nice job by Lawson. You could sense, okay, I've got the position now. You get the hammer down, use these tires a little bit to establish a gap so I don't have to fend him off.
Right.
And he'll probably go back into a little bit of tire saving. Still a lot of time on the clock here, over 20 minutes to run, so anything can happen. But as we've seen so many times, Greg, you typically with these races, if you go back 2 or 3 years, you just rely on the yellows. Like, don't burn the tires down yet, because you know there's going to be a reset.
Exactly.
Very rarely do we see one, so you can't certainly bank on that being a factor.
Well, Lawson getting a bit of rotation through the exit of 4 there. And then settles it down just a little bit. And that's the other thing that, we talk about, some of the adjustments they make. You're often talking about restrictor weight or whatever, but look at the ride height on that Camaro relative to the other cars. That's another big factor.
Oh, yeah. I mean, ideally you want the car as low as you can to the ground. The lower center of gravity just means you're not trying to control that massive weight up in the air. So that's been one effective tool in really managing the performance of this awesome race car, the Camaro. To just keep it up off the ground, make them control the way up high, and that will slow you down a little bit. Courtney's not going away, is he? It's 2.2 seconds is the gap last time to the leader.
There's a look at Martin Barkey running with Mantella Autosports in the Crossbow. Down through the roller coaster. I love this shot because it really shows you the elevation drop.
Yeah, and it's big, right?
Well over 100 feet. Yeah. In that relatively short spot or space of track. It's a long, easy climb going up the other way, but it goes away in a hurry right there. And usually when you have elevation drop and you're running through it, that means the exit of a turn's pretty much off camber, so it makes it all the more intricate, doesn't it?
Yeah, downhill. I mean, if you think about the friction circle of a tire, it increases when you're going uphill and you've got banking.
Yeah.
But when you're going downhill and off camber, that friction circle gets real small in terms of when that tire's going to give up.
Margin, I'll tell you, it's right at 2 seconds again. When Courtney made that little charge, turned that fast lap, and cut it down to about 1.5 seconds. Within 2 laps, Nico had that right back up to about 2 seconds.
Yeah, and last lap, we're seeing fastest lap, personal best laps for Oschenbeck and Baptiste at a 1:56.5 and 1:56.6 respectively. Chasing Courtney's fastest lap of the race so far at 1:56.2. So again, just great testimony to these Pirelli P0s in terms of the performance level and window staying so long through these races.
It's starting to get to about 2/3 of the way through the race, and they still always seem to produce a pretty impressive stick.
And this may be a learning curve for Lawson, again with this relatively new car. He'll come out of today's race with a mindful of knowledge in terms of what he can do with the car, how early he can lean on that tire, and if he finds that the tire's still really good at the end, what you'll see him do tomorrow is start to lean on them a little bit earlier.
And the fact
it's like
that
push to pass, you don't want any left in the tank when the checkered flag falls.
And if you're thinking, boy, Black Dog Speed Shop, they've been doing this a long time. How could they, not get to the track with a spare diff? Well, it's because the cars are so new, and there's only a couple others that are in existence right now, and they're going to another series to compete as well. So it's just simply a matter of there just aren't a lot of spare parts at this stage for these cars.
Yeah. So when you change the machinery, there's always those little factors involved, and Ray Sorensen, I know he'll be bitterly disappointed, and none more so than Tony Gable's obviously not seeing action. Tony likes to race.
He does. And races very well, and especially it's going to just be a huge hit for him because of where he was in those GTS A points.
Yeah, he was leading those coming in, and still looking at Baptiste, Greg. He's really having a roll. Maximum radius through everywhere and a little bit more, and you see these other cars just tucking in a little bit better.
And Barkey is now in attack mode. You see him looking.
Yeah. Batista's hanging on a little bit here. I think he's vulnerable to this position. Barkey's really working him over.
Here's the start of the climbing S's. Oh, look at the Camaro hop as it comes up and over that first curve.
Oh, he's got great compliancy, and some of that is obviously going to be aided by big ride height as well. It's one of the great things. It's an asset. We've seen it with Aquilante at St. Petersburg. He's really able to float those curbs there, particularly through turn 3, the one on turn 3 onto the back straightaway there. He could really widen the radius of that corner by doing so, and that's a huge advantage to have.
Yeah, he had actually said after the race, he said, our first time through there at speed, I knew that my move for the lead was going to be into 4.
Yep.
He said, because I could just see I could use way more curb than the others.
Shame he's not here this weekend. We knew it was kind of Probably going to be a one-off. We were hoping with success and maybe a little bit of prize money that would get the team to the next event, but they're sticking to their guns and saying, no, that was just give the car one final hurrah. It was a good one.
Boy, wasn't it? Back now to this battle for the 8th spot. That's Clennon in the orange McLaren 570S, and right behind him is Anthony Mantella.
Yeah, both Mantella Autosport cars in the thick of a battle right now. That's Mantella chasing Clennon for 8th, and as we cut the camera there, Barkey was all over Baptista.
And Nate Stacy sitting right behind there in the 10th spot at this stage.
Look at that.
He can run that so tight, can he?
He can. Which in some ways is an indicator, like if you rolled more speed and used a bigger radius, you could maybe up the minimum apex speed a little bit. Obviously, if the car in front of you, can't do it, but maybe more on the table there for Anthony on a clear lap without traffic. Oh, look at this.
Oh, and a big slide by Clennon. That's what happened. Then a little touch.
Oh, yeah, and this is exactly what Brian Till was talking about, because if you suddenly don't give the guy enough room, really easy to get in the left rear quarter panel of the guy that's got the position on track and turn him hard into that Armco barrier. I wouldn't be surprised for Brian to have a little chat with those guys tonight and say, like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you're going to go out there and race out there, give each other room, because it can turn you.
And that's one of the things that just impresses me with the race control group, really, here in the Pirelli World Challenge, is they get the big picture application. They say, yeah, you may have not been the one who ran a little wide, but you still bear some responsibility if you don't give that guy a little room to come back when the track ends.
Absolutely.
And if you don't, and there's a wreck, we're going to get on you about it too. So,
well, race how you want to be raced. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. Is you wouldn't want to be kept out there and put in no man's land, and don't do the same thing to your competitor, because it'll come back and bite you.
Yep. 12 minutes and a few seconds left to go here in round 3, and
lead is really stretched out over 4 seconds.
Wow.
Aschenbach is getting a little bit closer to Courtney. Courtney had a bad lap on that last lap, lost a couple of seconds to the leader, and must have been a little mistake, I would assume, unless he's caught some traffic.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Lawson's lap was what, almost a second and a half quicker.
Yep.
Than Courtney's. Here's this battle again. Stacy a little bit too far back to take advantage of anything that might happen here. I'll tell you, Anthony's got to be mighty frustrated here. No, whoa, Clennon floating way wide.
Got in there hard on the ABS, just got out of the gray. Anthony almost handed a little gift there, not quite close enough to take advantage. Can he do the over-under here? Yes, he can. Tucks it nicely. That was well set up.
Yeah, well done.
Anthony's really improved over the last couple of seasons. I think he's got confidence with the car, and that's really allowed his driving skills to develop to a point that he's really, really competitive in this class. It's quick all week long. Teller Autosport doing a great job on the engineering front. And they're having fun. For a couple of years there, Anthony wasn't enjoying his racing, and that's not a lot of that's not the way to go.
Yeah, you get into racing to have fun, don't you? And when it's not, that really becomes problematic. And also a bit problematic for our leader in the GTS A points coming in here. Jeff Leppard, Tony Gaples down in the pits doing what a team owner has to do.
Well, you said racing is fun. Tony Gaples not in a driver's suit here, but still fun for your team, but not for you. What happened?
Lawson broke a diff out there earlier, and we didn't have a spare because they're normally bulletproof in this car. So here my car became a parts car, and here I am enjoying a fantastic race.
Well, of course, Lawson Aschenbach out there trying to go for the overall championship here. Affects your championship a little bit as you're going for that AM championship, though.
Yeah, and I was 5th in points, and I'm not the #1 driver, unfortunately. So here I am.
Well, the #1 team owner, he's sitting on the top of the box, though. Tony, thank you so much. And Lawson Aschenbach, guys, still trying to see if he can make it worthwhile for what his team owner had to do for him.
Well, he's chipping away at that second spot right now of Courtney, and that tells you the mindset of Tony. He's leading in the GTS AM points, but his reference is overall. I'm 5th in points because that's where I'm racing in his mind, and that's why this team has such success. He, Ray Sorensen, and everybody, they've got one goal.
Well, 4-time champ, so their goal has been fulfilled
truly
many times. Car looks pretty smooth.
Yes,
not really sliding much. So again, Aschenbach running very competitive lap times late in the going here, and I just anticipate he will lean on that car a little bit sooner tomorrow. He'll be more aggressive, I think.
And right here, the battle for fourth is getting a bit tasty.
Yes, right there is where Crossbow loses out.
Yeah.
With the Barkey car, at least. Mantella seems to lose out at the beginning of the straightaway. And we haven't been able to tell with Germain because he's too far in front.
Exactly. Exactly. Looking at last laps now. Courtney was able to get back into the 56s.
Germain breaks the 56 barrier, the 55.9 for fast lap. That'll grab pole for tomorrow.
And again, I think that just speaks volumes as we're under 10 minutes to go of just what you can do with these Pirelli P0s. Pretty amazing performances. And speaking of amazing performance, we're seeing one from this young budding superstar, Nico Jamin, Jeff.
Yeah, Nico Jamin leading here. Simon, any word from the cockpit about how he's doing out here in his first Pirelli World Challenge race?
Well, Nico likes the car. He just set up the fastest lap for tomorrow. Hopefully he keeps it until the end of the race. The car is handling great. He's on a good way to finish in the pole so far.
Everything A-OK in the crossbow here at Ansa Motorsports.
Boy, I'll say. We talked about it. Every time Courtney would be able to take it down to under 2 seconds, Nico would just respond. And Courtney had that one bad lap, and he's been able to do nothing since relative to Nico's speed here. And Aschenbach, he had gotten down to about 2 seconds off of Courtney. Courtney responded with 2 laps that were about a half second quicker than Lawson, and suddenly that margin's up to 3 seconds from Courtney back to Lawson.
Well, as we said in our CBS stand-up, Greg, sort of like talking about the weekend, Lawson Aschenbach at St. Petersburg, Aquilani sweat, but for Lawson he knew that Aquilani probably wasn't going to do the full season, so he's getting into these individual battles, and we said he might get a battle this weekend. We didn't really know from this man based on his history, and boy oh boy, it's nice to get that one right, because if he'd suddenly qualified about 12th, it'd be what are these guys talking about, but he has proven, he comes in here with the credentials and he's putting them to great effect.
Well, he's, a couple of years ago won the F2000 championship. I mean, he's a huge Mazda Road to Indy guy. Won that championship. Yes, we're taking a look here. I think that's the Panos of Ian James just working around and putting a lap on Chris Beaufait. But what I was going to get at was that he won that championship. Now he's in Indy Lights. He wins a race at Barber. Before that, this season, he went and ran a prototype championship race in an LMP3, won both of those rounds.
See a trend?
Yes. One disturbing for everybody that's about to race against him.
I used to call this friend of mine, driving the Panos, the young Englishman, Ian James. He's still younger than me and always will be, but he's done a great job. A lot of experience and just a great fit for that team as they develop that new car.
Yeah, he really is. Just got a great nature about him. There's Lawson. That's the margin, second to third. But you were just talking about those battles. So when you look at timing and scoring right now, Nico Jamin, not full season. Courtney, not full season. Then it's Aschenbach. So in a way, the people that he's racing against, this is a win. Now there's a bigger gap between first and second, third, obviously points-wise. But he is really has played this to perfection. He needed to get by one guy, and he's done that.
Yeah, and I mean, Baptista's performing well. They came and they were, arms and elbows there.
I think Barkey's got designs here.
Yeah, he does. So I think Baptista could be his main threat, so long as he keeps an eyeball on him and just tries to gain points on him this weekend. He's in great shape, and that's what Lawson's so good at. That's why he wins championships. He's a very smart, great, quick driver. He's got all of the tools.
Yeah, you got to be fast, but you also have to be able to read scenarios and think big picture.
Well, race car drivers need egos, but sometimes you got to keep those in check and think about the big picture. And And getting a bit too racy on a certain day midway through the season can hurt you at the end of the day in terms of the championship. And that's what he's been known to do, is to just bide his time, be patient, not get too frustrated, just maximize the points that you can potentially get out of a weekend. So all the big teams do it. Chip Ganassi will talk about, we go to win and we go to finish second. If we can't finish second, we want to finish third. So you're not always going to have the winning combination, right, but executing to the max on each weekend is what it's all about.
I mean, you hear that a lot. If you have a third place car and you get third, you got to be happy with that. If somebody in front of you breaks and you get second, obviously that's a great thing. But you don't want to have a third place car and get 20th points because you tried for second when it wasn't there and wreck it. So, I mean, it's just a matter of as you said, just reining in that natural instinct of some of the world's best drivers to just always go fast regardless. And those that can control that a little bit, they tend to be the ones that are special. Let's see, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, just under 4 minutes. So a couple of laps left here.
Yeah, I think I'll be this one plus 2 more.
Yeah. Just trying to look here and see what kind of time Barkey might have to try and do something with that last lap. Aschenbach actually ran a little quicker.
Yeah, Barkey just set personal best first sector. So maybe he's ramped up to try and have a charge here, and it becomes very much of everyone's. No, blew the second sector, unfortunately, much slower. So it's probably not going to turn into a great lap. But it's on everyone's mind. I mean, it's something for the crew chiefs to remind you of, and just, okay, if you're in a gap where you're really not going anywhere, just by beating the tires down and try to chase this guy, there's no way you're going to catch him. Just settle back.
Yep.
Just ease the tires, give him a breather, and then have another go at it. Obviously, here on the type of circuit you've got here is a lot easier than, say, the streets of St. Petersburg, where just finding a clear gap at the end of the race. Man, I didn't get a fast lap, and I was always involved with someone.
Yep.
A bit easier to manage that this weekend.
Well, a classic example, was it St. Pete? J.D. Davison finished second, and the next race started, I think, 9th. Yeah. I said, why is that? He goes, because I was always racing. Oh, I think it's that's Rico Schlamoun, who just had a little bit of a moment here. And I'll tell you, you run off, and I think that was probably the exit at 10, and you get that wrong, and you just keep going at this stage.
He's doing the right thing by going slowly, and maybe he's got a further issue now, unless he's just looking for a gap in traffic. But a dramatic day, not the sort of debut run he wanted to see.
Exactly.
Probably well challenged, but his teammate's having a good one.
And as we said, for young Rico, this is his first race, my understanding, in a car proper after coming straight up out of karting, where he was a championship winner, so he certainly has potential, but this is a whole different ballgame. For Nico,
he's the real deal. You just see the way he pedals this machine.
Yeah.
Courtney will be happy, though. This is a strong run for him.
Absolutely.
He said, he said there were a few GT races I really felt I could have won over the years, and he said, so I got a little bit of frustration left in me from that, but he said I'd love to get one. Pole today was nice for him. So we see the white flag waving, final lap for the leader.
Last one. Jamin Courtney Aschenbach. And then Barkey completing the top 5 would be Baptista. And not quite on the pace of the front 3 at this stage, but still right in the hunt is Ian James, and I think they're going to be pretty happy with that. That's such a brand new program in that Avezzano GT.
What's interesting is looking at the maximum speed. Jamo was about 139. I'm seeing 146 for Courtney, 47 for Aschenbach. Ian James in the 147 range. Baptista 148. That's good news for the Cayman, because I think at the first couple of races they definitely were struggling a bit,
right,
BOP wise. So,
and then you see both of the crossbows up in the front are in the 138, 139 range. But again, that's the trade-off.
You need track position.
And
you're up front, you can just lay the laps down, but if you get
absolutely.
stuck behind and you're getting stretched a bit on the straightaways, that was some of the frustration last year with drivers with this chassis and combination. Can't have it all, though. Can't be lightweight and roll big speed through the corners and have straightaway speed, otherwise you'd be 2 seconds a lap faster.
Right. Well, that's the thing. You click the stopwatch from here down to the exit of 17. This car is going to be significantly quicker than the others here. And the way he's been driving it, it's just been significantly quicker, period. A great package in the hands of a tremendous driver and a superstar, no question of the future. Nico Jaman coming through for ANSA Motorsports in the crossbow and bringing home a win. That's pretty much the same chassis and number as the car that Brett Sandberg took to the championship last year. And Nico showing that car has every bit the potential as well as he does as a driver. Jeff Courtney comes through and gets a very well-earned second place from pole. And, of course, Lawson Aschenbach getting that third spot, but relative to everybody else in the championship, he'll be battling with all year long, doing what he needed to do. Third, as good as a win. And Martin Barkey, as Martin Barkey is known to do, just wouldn't give up. Couldn't quite get it done, but was coming after him. And the young Rodrigo Baptista, another impressive run.
Yeah, just solid. Another solid points day, but the problem is Aschenbach had a more solid points day. So.
Exactly.
But they'll keep working on it. I think that's a combination that's going to come good, Greg. I really do. I think the team has got such great pedigree, great engineering, Jim Bell. Baptista seems to be the real deal, so I think they'll just tweaking on it. The big points will come.
In 6th, Ian James in the Panos Avezzano GT. In 7th, Ari Belo winning the AM category, if you will. Top AM driver. Ferrari with a good debut for him with Steve Cameron Racing in the Art Racing Team machine. Mantella in the 8th spot overall. 9th, second in AM, is Mark Clennon in the Tender Belly McLaren 570S. Number 62, and rounding out the top 10 overall, Nate Stacey in the Flying Lizard Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport MR. Adam Merzon and Justin Bell, after having that, Jason Bell, excuse me, after having that incident early in that spin, just couldn't get right after it again and ended up in 12th. But the good news for him is he was 3rd, 4th in the AM category, so he'd get some good useful points. Then Beaufet, then Schleman, and then of course Cameron Castles had that long off. Was able to get back on track. We had a little damage at the back of the car and just lost a little bit of time. And eventually he just pulled in, I think, and parked it. And they're going to try and work on it because they're going to be doing a lot more racing as the day and the weekend unfolds here. Well, interesting to hear what Nico has to say in the interview here. We're anticipating he'll be able to get with Jeff Lepper. And it'd be interesting to know if he just was really managing that gap or if he was having to push to maintain it here.
Sure, his first priority was to establish a gap, knowing that the car doesn't have the ultimate straightaway speed as some of the other competitors. And once he did that, he just flawless run.
Right.
Nice racing at the beginning to grab the spots.
Man loves to win, and he's gotten pretty used to it. And as Nico getting congratulations, there's Alain Didal, the team owner of ANSA Motorsports. There's Jeff Lepper standing there. Look at that. Alain gets it. Hey, there's TV. Go talk to him.
Yeah.
Jeff?
Well, thank you so much, Greg. Yeah, exactly here. We'll get Nico's helmet off as quickly as we can here. Alan Liddell is here from ANSA Motorsports. 2 cars strong here with this Crossbow GT4. And Nico, congratulations on that. Had the pole, led it flag to flag, getting the win here today. Great drive for you.
Thank you very much. I mean, big thanks to ANSA Motorsport and KTM, Ryder Engineering. The car was awesome today. I knew, with the BOP we were really fast in the corners, but not quite on the straight line. So I dropped back to 3rd at the start, but I made a great pass on the outside to take the lead. And from that on, I knew we had the pace.
Well, Nico, obviously racing with that Maserati there with Jeff Courtney, the pole sitter, making that pass, earning one of the best moves of the race award as well, and setting the fast time for the race lap for the race tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I had to get it done early because I would struggle a lot to get a run on the straight line and get him on the brakes. So I got him, I think, where I didn't expect it, in the very twisty parts of the track. And yeah, I mean, that's great. And then they told me on the radio I didn't have the best lap for tomorrow, so I pushed really hard one lap to get it.
Well, Nico Jamin starting in P1 the way he finishes today.
You can just hear the confidence that he has too, and I love it. A race driver, when you make a really great pass, you're pleased with that. And he said, I made a great pass around the outside. But that's what they live for. That's what
Absolutely.
They live for.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
Yep,
and,
he is.
And fun to call. He's, well, the first win I've called for him. He's had many victories, but fun to see him do it again in a new form of competition.
Yeah, I saw him running a prototype with just a one-off last year, and you knew right away. Whoop, this guy's pretty impressive. All right, now let's get back down to Jeff Lepper with our second-place finisher.
Well, Jeff Courtney here in the RecStuff.com Maserati started from pole, but got second place today. Got around you, but great drive for you, man.
Congratulations, good job. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been in the car since Laguna last year. I'm very happy with how I've been driving this weekend. I just didn't have anything for him. He got by me. I don't think I could have. I'm not sure if I could have managed him or not, but I know he managed me that whole race, so I think he's very quick. But really happy. Kenda, RecStuff.com, and our crew put a ton of work to even get these cars here. Sunday night, we didn't even know if we were coming. So, a lot of good things. So, very happy.
Congratulations. Almost a win here for Jeff Courtney in second place. He'll take that any day of the week.
You bet. And we had talked a little bit about the story that evolved about him getting here. And his dad used to race motorcycles. And a guy contacted the family, a 77-year-old guy who's still racing dirt flat track motorcycles, called and said, I wanted to do an article for a motorcycle magazine on your dad. And then the guy went out and raced. He's still racing at 77, carried his number, his dad's number on it, and Courtney said, you know what, that's passion. And he said, maybe I should wait this out here and look at the results.
He was emotional there. I think he was about to break down. It was a big week for those guys.
You bet it was. And a big day for Lawson Aschenbach in the points, Jeff.
A big day in the points for you as well as the two guys in front of you not running the full season, but you got a special person to thank for this one.
Yeah, I got to really say thanks to Tony Gaples, my team owner and teammate. He's been a great friend to me for the last number of years, and he was willing to give up a piece to his car so I could race today, and that really says a lot about him as a person, and I really can't thank him enough, not only for that, but for everything we do here at Black Dog. I mean, it's amazing to be a part of this team, and I love driving this Camaro GT4R. I mean, Chevrolet did a great job with these beasts, and to have a team like Black Dog, people like Pratt and Miller, everybody involved, GM Racing, it's a pleasure to drive this beast, and wish we could have done two better today, but yeah, happy about the day. Good podium for us, and we'll go in tomorrow and see if we can make it a little better.
Well, Lawson Aschenbach, third place today, but by my calculations, Calvin, first place in points.
Yeah, he should assume the points lead here tonight, and I think he learned a lot, Jeff. I think he'll go away and look at those lap times and see that he still was able to turn fast laps at the end and maybe, kind of hustle the car a little bit sooner tomorrow and keep the gap down to Germain. But Germain's going to be tough to beat, as is Courtney. Courtney's been tough all weekend.
A couple of emotional drivers. You can hear that little hiccup in Lawson's voice when he was talking about what Tony did. Pretty impressive stuff. And Ray Sorensen popped his head in there for a little bit, and Ray worked some magic on those cars as well. Well, you can see the sweepers are out, a little bit of touch-up on the track, and the reason is the next thing on the schedule, and folks, you do not want to go far. It is going to be the opening round of the 2017 SprintX Championship for the Pirelli World Challenge. A big field. Some of the world's best drivers have shown up to partner some of the world's best drivers that run here full-time in the Pirelli World Challenge. It's going to be awesome, and it's coming up next, so don't go too far.
different classes or same classes for this race?
start, trying to close the track up a little bit for these GT3 machines. But make sure you get a nice clear track here at the 3.27 mile, 17-turn road course of Virginia International Raceway. All cars racing here this weekend on Pirelli P0 tires, of course, the official tire supplier. Wait until the end of the 35-minute race. Do your driver change and finish out. The driver that finishes the race today will start tomorrow back to the race from its pole position.
I've given him 5. We're on the 5.
John ain't switching cars.
The oak tree turn. Sad to see no oak tree here, but the challenges remain unchanged at Virginia International Raceway. Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Calvin Fish and Jeff Leppard down in pit lane. And there's a look at the exit of the Snake and the opening of the Climbing S's, a couple of signature sections of what is an amazing racetrack. You know, Cal, every once in a while, things come together. We have a superb racetrack with superstar drivers in supercars here. This is going to be absolute magic. First time World Challenge been here since, I think, 2010. And the pole lap here, just for a relative statement on the development of the cars in the series since 2010, the pole lap some 14 seconds faster than it was in the past. Just amazing.
It really is. I mean, the GT3 cars are so spectacular. And we add to the mix the new SprintX format for the very first time in our major championship. Yes, we had some trial runs last year at a few events, but this is the real deal. So when you look at the factory drivers that are here this weekend, from GM, you got the Taylor boys, you got guys from Porsche, from McLaren, from Bentley. It is a stacked grid. Whether you're starting or finishing, there are no weak links in that Pro class. And there's Mike Skeen, who stunned everyone this morning with a late fire to claim the pole position for the Audi. And Mike McCann, who was supposed to be driving with him this weekend, is not feeling well, so Andrew Davis has been drafted in. He has Audi experience, so he's got a good teammate to take over from him at that halfway point in this race.
Yeah, I mean, it is truly amazing what we're about to see unfold here, I think. We've talked about it sitting in the driver briefing and looking at the field in there. You almost got antsy a little bit because you said this is going to be just amazing. And it really is the start of a new era for the Pirelli World Challenge here with this new format. And it all starts now as we head down to the front of the grid for that special command with Jeff Lepper.
Well, thank you so much, Greg. And, of course, this is Nissan's track here at Virginia International Raceway. And Rick Kulak, the guy that's going to give our command to start engine here and fire up these great machines. And give the command here, Rick Kulak, Nissan Motorsports North American Manager.
On behalf of Optima Batteries, Pirelli Tires, and Nissan North America, start your engines.
Well, thank you, Rick. Greg and Cal, it's going to be a great race.
Oh, it's going to be phenomenal. It's the Nissan Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix at VIR. There is your pole car. And I'll tell you, yeah, once they drafted Andrew Davison, it was a Pro-Am entry, and they said, well, now that's a Pro car. And then Skeen went out and proved it.
Yeah, he did. He loves this racetrack. He's got so much history here. He's totally at home, and they kept tweaking on the race car, and they got it right. The Audi really surprised everyone, because I think everyone thought it would be one of the Mercedes on the front row. Ryan Dalziel put in a great performance there in the De Vilbius car, but he's on the outside, and he's got a really fast guy he's got to go after in this opening stint here today.
Yeah, he does, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Now, of course, there's the Pro category, then there's Pro-Am, then there's the Am category. On the pole in the Pro-Am category, Frankie Montecalvo. And speaking of Nissan, after they missed the opening 2 rounds, they finally got the car. They are ready to go with the always evolving AIM Autosport Nissan GT-R Nismo GT3, and Frankie put it on the pole.
No problem here. Is that Cooper's car?
It sure looks like it. Cooper's Cadillac. That is not how you want things to start off here. Cooper had done the qualifying. He had a bumper flying during the qualifying session. I went and talked to the team, and they said he just ran wide and just the exit of the curb hooked it. And he said, he said that was no big deal. This is huge.
Yeah, as you can see from the illumination panel there, he would be starting 7th. But whatever happens now, I don't think he's allowed to take his position back on the grid. So he's going to be starting at the back of the field. Best case scenario is if he can get life back in that Cadillac.
It'll be interesting to see if he starts at the back of the Pro field or if he's at the back of the combined field. That could have huge implications here. Second in Pro-Am, Mike Shine doing a superb job in that Wright Motorsports Porsche. Mike, of course, running the full season, both Sprint and SprintX in the number 16, and doing a nice job there. On the pole in the Am category, Tyler McQuarrie in the Momo NGT Motorsports Ferrari put in a sizzler of a lap and ends up on the pole in the Am category 3rd overall. So pretty impressive run there. So congratulations to those guys. In total here, we have a very large field at this stage. By my reckoning, 33 cars are going to be taking the green here in the combined classes. So we are pretty excited about what might be unfolding here. The big story at the moment is that of the blue number 8 machine of Michael Cooper and his co-driver for this one, Jordan Taylor, and there it is on the hook.
I think he might have snapped something in the drivetrain if he's getting that kind of assistance. Wow.
Yeah, not good.
And remember, your fast lap today sets your grid for tomorrow.
Well, let's get down to Jeff Lepper in the Cadillac pits. Jeff, what's up?
Yeah, Laura Closser, can you tell us what's going on with Cooper?
Actually, we're trying to figure that out ourselves. We just sent our mechanics down to take a look at the car. A lot of warnings were coming up, and so he ended up pulling aside and turning it off. And they're going to go take a look and hopefully get it restarted and get us out there and racing.
Well, perfect. Looks like a little better to be safe than sorry here to make sure everything gets reset in that Cadillac, Cal.
Well, the key is getting it's a bad day, but hopefully they can get some life so we can get out there as we're just getting into your fast lap today. Counts for your grid to position tomorrow. So if they can't get any life and he doesn't see action, they'll be starting at the very back tomorrow as well.
Yeah, and that's a huge hit and point. So, yeah, at this point, it's just sort of salvaging anything you can to get a lap today. That's a good one. And able to qualify in 7th, so you think they ought to be able to get a decent lap. There's the team car, Johnny O'Connell and Ricky Taylor, the pairing in there. And we have to mention it because it's such a great story. You were talking about all of the great factory drivers that are in as second drivers with the team cars. We have the reunion here of one of the greatest endurance pairings in the history of the sport. Jörg Bergmeister is behind the wheel of a Porsche with Pat Long again.
They won all the big Enduros. In fact, their last race together was a 12-hour Sebring win back in 2014. So they're on a roll right now.
Exactly.
There's 3 years between the times they drove together.
Yeah, just an amazing pairing. Le Mans wins and championships, and great to have it. Lights out on the pace car again. Rules for this year for the GT, whether it's Sprint or SprintX. It is always rolling starts. And so we are about to get ready to go. An hour in length in that pit window, coming between 25 to 35 minutes. Driver change only. And we are looking forward to this one. The pace car, the beautiful Cadillac ATS Viva, there it goes, makes its move down into the pit lane. And we are looking for the green flag to get the SprintX era, the Pirelli World Challenge going. Mike Skeen in the McCann Racing Audi on the pole. Ryan Dial in the DeVilbiss Mercedes alongside, and we are racing in SprintX for the first time in the GT division. And the field heading down into the horseshoe. And a good move there. Just sticking right with it. Dial trying to float the outside, Cal.
He was. Almost opened up the door. Montermini had a great run in that yellow Ferrari. Tried to split the gap there. Now he's side by side with Dial as they head towards turn 3. Good clean start for everyone.
Brent had a good start as well. Tried to cut underneath midway through the horseshoe.
Side by side there with Keffer and Riberas. Really tight through 3. Long all over the back of Montermini right now, putting the pressure on. Sellers has got around Parent. And the Bentley. Parent has been demoted. I don't even see Parent right now.
Yeah, he took a move, and I think he got the door shut on him, and it really cost him dearly. He had to check up big time. Yeah, you're right. I don't see him at all.
He's way back. He may have damage. May have a flat tire or something, because Parent is plummeting down this field, our championship leader.
Meanwhile, there's the 58. Of course, that is the Wright Motorsports Porsche Consulting Porsche of Pat Law. And he left up as well from 6th to 4th at this stage.
Second in points coming in. 1 point behind this man who's driving very slowly. Going to lose a ton of time here. Someone has dropped the wheel.
Yeah, I think you're right. He may have. I don't see the car laying down on any corner. Hugely here. Long.
In our brake zone. Really deep. He's too deep. He runs wide. A mistake by Patrick Long there.
Wow.
I think he just had to adjust his line. He was in there really committed into the ABS. And suddenly had to take evasive action around the Ferrari and runs wide. O'Connell goes by him. So just as we see the championship leader have a problematic first lap, the man chasing him in points, he has a problem.
We knew this was going to be exciting, but this is pretty fierce right off the go. Up front, Mike Skeen. And you pointed it out. He has tremendous experience at this track, considers it home, really. And just is able to wheel it nicely here. Dial in the DeVilbiss Mercedes sits in that second spot. Watching him come through here. The big story right now, what is going on with Parent? There he is. Cal, I don't really see any issue.
Sellers is in as well. Sellers in.
Oh, the Capex team.
Did they get together? Was there contact between the two teammates? They were side by side on row 5.
Sellers, that left rear tire getting changed, and here comes Parent.
Wow, this is it.
Unbelievable.
I mean, Sellers kept going. He doesn't have the same drama or to the same extent that Parent does. Does Parent have suspension damage as well?
I don't see anything in terms of a cut tire.
No.
So something. Let's get down to Jeff. What's up?
Yeah, left rear tie rod link. They have a spare right here ready to put on it, but the left rear is totally bent. You see them moving that, and you can look at the angle and see how it's towed way out. Heavy damage to this McLaren. It's going to be a lengthy repair here for your 2016 champ.
Wow, unbelievable. Coming off of 2 wins in the 3 races so far in the Sprint Championship, Cal. This is huge.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't see the 2 cars together, Greg. They started alongside each other on the grid. There was the gap in front of Parent that was made vacant by Cooper, but you're not allowed to take that spot up. And I noticed that Parent had left that gap as they came to the green flag. Then we were focused on the front of the field, and Sellers had got around him.
I thought I saw, like I said, midway through the horseshoe in that opening corner, like Parent squared up to get underneath somebody, and if they clocked him, but it didn't look like Sellers. I don't know if we'll be able to get a replay of that, but
could be 2 separate incidents, but involving 2 teammates on the opening lap. What a disaster for K-Pax.
Yeah, and Sellers, of course, coming off a podium as well at Long Beach, so both of them well placed in the points. Now, there are different championships. There's a Sprint Championship, a SprintX Championship, but there is the combined overall championship that all of these drivers are going for. And this will be a big hit there.
And again, we harp on it a lot, Greg, but without a fast lap right now, that's going to affect their grid position for tomorrow. So they've got to somehow get that toe link replaced, get the car out there either in the hands of Parent or his teammate.
Well, we often talk about it being a team sport, and this is one of those moments when the team has got to find it and get that fixed, as you said. For Sellers, looked like it was a much easier solution, just a fresh tire. And of course, they have a new rule with tires this year as well. With this, it's called a Joker tire. You're allowed 4 of them if you're running one of the championships. So look at this, the number 44 John Potter entry is in. Jeff?
Yeah, down here with John Potter, and there's actually just took the engine cover off, and there was condensation on it. Looks like there's oil and water all over. I don't see any debris on the front of the radiator, so not sure what happened here, but big problems for John Potter's Audi R8.
Well, and that's another scenario here, because the second driver in that car, Marco Seefried, is world class, and he was the one that was going to get the lap for tomorrow. So look at that.
Back to the tent, I would imagine.
Oh boy. And John Potter has got to be just beside himself.
Meanwhile, another Audi in this field is looking awfully strong. Skeen is stretching it at the front. It was 2.5 seconds last time by the stripe. And that stays the same margin. So DL has stabilized the gap at the front right now.
Give you a read on it here. With Dial Mancinelli, and of course we've got he's teamed this weekend with Andre Montermini. Nice to have him back stateside racing. Ribera sits 4th for the R Ferry Motorsports program, and 5th Pierre Caffer running for Magnus Racing in the number 4 Audi. O'Connell in the number 3 Cadillac sits in the 6th spot. 58 Pat Long 7th after that off. Boy, that was interesting to see. And interesting story here coming in and supporting the program for Bentley. Got a couple of great drivers there too, and a young man by the name of Abril sits right now doing a superb job sitting in the 8th spot. So exciting stuff for him.
Abril performance, you'd call it, right?
Exactly. I like that. Wow.
They thought this Bentley would be well suited to these high-speed corners, long wheelbase, really stable through that type of corner. It's a big car, big silhouette there, but got Alex Imperatori and the other machine, the